So I want to say hello to all of you. And I've never had a housewife on until Jill Zarin. And I did that because it was just a reuniting, and it was for a very specific reason. But my show is not typically about housewives. And the guest that's here today, I have been thinking about having on this podcast probably since the beginning. I keep saying to myself, I want to do this. Should I do this? Is this right? And it's not that I don't think she'd be great for the show. It's that I only want to have someone on if there's something really to discuss, if there's just, if it's coming out of me. So today our guest is NeNe Leakes.
Oh, do I hear a round of an applause? Amazing. I am here, girl.
You are here.
I
and
am
so
here.
We're in Connecticut.
Yes, we are.
You and I talked a couple of times.
Yes.
You sounded very different than I've ever heard you.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I wanted to say just overall is, are you okay?
I'm better. How about that? I'm better. There was a time when I wasn't okay, but I am better now. And I know that I'm going to be okay.
So you're in a transitional phase.
I think so. I'm in my head a lot. I don't even know if you know what that means, but sometimes I'm like really in my head. I've never been an overthinker, and now I have become an overthinker.
I know.
You know, I'm overthinking everything. I'm in a place in my life where I kind of like don't trust nobody.
I know.
Like I never wanted to be that person ever in my life. And so now I'm like looking at everybody like, okay, so what they're trying to do. So what they're trying to say, what they're trying to set me up, and I hate that kind of thing. And, but I'm okay. I really am.
It's coming through because we spoke a couple of times this week, and we're going to get into everything. But as far as how this happened, I have thought about doing something with you, as you know, because I've called you and asked you to do things, and we'll get into it. But I've always been intrigued by you. I've always thought you were a superstar. I've always thought you were wildly entertaining, talented, a powerful force. And I've always called you the GOAT. I've always said you should be at the top of Rushmore. You were my first Mount Rushmore. And I don't give that many people credit. And I feel like I've always... Interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've always given you credit. And as I thought about having you on many times, it was just like I would have just been having you on to have you on as a great guest. But something just sort of came to be recently. And it was just... You've commented on posts of mine and vice versa, but I posted something recently. You commented. I commented back because I sort of felt like you needed an internet hug. I can't explain it. I had like an energy about like you needed to be included in something where you gave me a high five. You said cheers to you, and I was like cheers to us, effectively. And I just felt
I love that.
And I loved. I felt like you needed an internet hug. And then I just said to my producers, now it's time. Because I've told them a million times, call NeNe, don't call NeNe, call NeNe, call. So this week I said, I'm positive. Yeah. And I'm positive. And then I've been texting you, and then you called me. And then I really started to realize what an actually good idea this was, better than I even thought, because I heard you fragile. I heard you a little frayed. Yeah. I did say to you, you are in your own head, and I think you don't even know how people perceive you. You're skewed. And I felt that you are having a lack of trust. Like everything you just said, it was coming through. And then I spoke to someone from your team and a friend. And, I was absolutely, I said to my team, we should have this happen soon. She wants to do it soon. Yeah. And she may cancel. She may cancel because I think she's very
back
fragile.
And forth. Yeah. I'm back and forth. I'm back and forth. That's all I can tell you. One day I'm really good. The next day I'm not good. The next day I'm okay. I'm just kind of back and forth. And so when I saw your post on Instagram, I honestly felt like, okay, may I be really honest?
Yeah.
I honestly felt like...
By the way, completely honest today. Completely honest.
I honestly felt like, okay, so, my heart wanted to say a win is a win. And
this was about a post that Bravo is now implementing better workplace conditions, controlling cocktail consumption, and it was sort of either a leaked or a found letter from the hires up, and it was a big win overall, even though it wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. It was basically an admission that the shit had gone sideways and the reality reckoning was real. Yeah. And NeNe commented, and say it again. What you I
started feeling like, in that moment, I felt like, that happened really fast. That's how I felt when I saw it. Like, well, they heard her. Like, it was shocking to me. That's how
I know. And you've alluded to it in some of your interviews, and I know that, and we're going to get into all that because I know that you've had a different experience, some different issues, but we're both on the same side of this. And so I know that it took you a lot to say to me, and I knew that it was a little, it was completely authentic, but it was wrapped in a message, oh, they heard you, for me to be like, and they didn't hear you. But that's why I said to you, they heard us, because I wanted to sort of wrap you into it and not leave you alone.
I do believe that a win is a win. I do believe that.
Right.
Okay. So that's why I say a win is a win. It doesn't matter, who slam dunk, as long as we get the job done, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we're on the same team and we have some of the same message. So your voice was heard, mine wasn't. It doesn't matter. Yours was heard.
Well, yours is heard now, and I recognize coming into this interview and at all times, you're going to have a different experience in the world and in entertainment and in reality TV than I am, and you're a Black woman, and only you can speak to that. I cannot speak to that. So I was thinking too, like, I know NeNe, and I've told people, but I don't really know. I don't really know you. I don't know how you grew up. I don't know your relationship history, your family. I don't know if you grew up poor. I know that I've watched the storylines and someone else raised you. Can you just tell us a little bit about your upbringing, like really how you came into adulthood?
Okay, so my mom had my brother at 18 and me at 19. So she was very young having us. My mom is from Athens, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And after giving birth to us, my brother she gave birth to in Georgia. And then she moved away to New York City, Queens, New York City, in Cambria Heights. And she gave birth to me, which I was born in Jamaica Queens Hospital in New York City.
Oh, I was born in Queens too.
Yeah, in New York City. And so my mom's family, her roots are in Athens, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta. And that's where her siblings were. Because my mom was so young, my aunt, who is her older sister, always said to me that she said to my mom, you're leaving those kids everywhere and with everybody. Why don't you bring them down to me? And she took me and my brother to her oldest sister. And that's where our lives changed. My aunt, she only had one daughter, and she couldn't have any more children after that. So she became our mom. Her and her husband became me and my brother's mom and dad. She essentially adopted us, down the road. But we always had a relationship with our mom. I was one of those kids that I grew up in Athens, Georgia, but I went back and forth to New York every single summer. I would catch a Greyhound bus. It would come through Athens. We would get on the bus, pack all of our things, and head off to Queens, New York City, and be with my mom for the summer. And then she'd send us back to Georgia right before school gets ready to start. So I always had a relationship with my mom. I wouldn't say my relationship was always great with my mom, because after that, my mom ended up getting her life together, getting married. She had a great husband who provided greatly for her. She had 3 more children with him afterwards. And I always felt like she never came back and got us.
Wow.
And I when I was like in middle school and high school, like I really wanted my mom. I honestly can't really explain it other than I just really wanted my mom. It wasn't anything that my aunt wasn't doing for us. She provided, as best she could for us. She gave us a great upbringing. But I just wanted my mom. I wanted to be with my mom. So I grew up with my mom's oldest sister and her husband. I did not have my mom and dad in my life on the everyday basis.
So you felt left behind?
I did, because my mom would come and visit with her children. And I always felt like, okay, so my mom is here with her kids and she's getting them dressed and making sure their hair is great. And it was almost like I was invisible, like I was not, her other daughter, like, girl, you're going to comb my hair too, right?
Well, if she had gone on to live a selfish life with no kids, that would be slightly easier. But to go and then some other kids are living the life that you didn't have.
Right.
And also that type of stuff is embarrassing in high school. You have to make explanations. Is that your mom? Well, it's kind of my mom. It's my aunt. Like you have to feel self-conscious.
And then there would be periods when I didn't see my mom for like a whole year or a year and a half. You know, I didn't see my mom. I was like, oh my God, I still haven't seen my mom. But, you know, even when I got to my teen years where, you know, you want to date boys or my mom's sister was older and I felt like my mom was younger. So she knew more hip things, you know.
You were like with an auntie.
Yeah, I was with my auntie.
Yeah.
Right. And so my mom, she knew more, you know, she was younger.
Cooler.
Yeah, cooler. And I felt like, you know, I wanted her to like make me cool. You know, like make my hair look young or whatever it is, instead of my little sisters with their hair all done cute and I'm over here with my aunts, you know.
I understand. You felt like you didn't fit in.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And, but as I got older, I got over the relationship that me and my mom had. Got over it as in I wasn't holding any more grudges. I understood that she was young when she gave birth to us. My life with my aunt was married to an alcoholic. He was, when I said an alcoholic, like extreme alcoholic. Like he would be drunk and falling down, and he's got many DUIs, and he would curse her out and really belittle her when he was drunk. And
how old were you?
I was with my aunt since I was about 4 years old.
So you witnessed all that at that age too. I had the same experience.
Growing
where, like,
up,
the police are coming to the house.
Yes,
and stuff.
I witnessed everything growing up. He was a great guy though. He wasn't abusive to us. I never saw him hit her, but he was verbally abusive. He taught me how to drive, him and my brother. He was a quiet man. The only time he really talked is when he was drinking. If he wasn't drinking, he was pretty quiet. So looking back, being an adult now, I know he was the kind of man who probably held a lot of things in, and drinking helped him to say all the things he probably wanted to say and hadn't said. But my uncle worked in a grocery store, and my aunt was a cook. And a seamstress. She later on had like an alteration shop, and she was the lady in Athens, Georgia that did all the weddings, like all the bridesmaids' dresses, and anybody that wanted curtains done, she could sew everybody's curtains. And so she had a nice small home, but we had a good life.
And was this middle class, would you say?
I would say it was middle class, yes.
Do you now, as a woman, do you recognize how amazing that they took you in? Like thinking about that?
I do. Younger, I could not appreciate it. But now that I'm older, I do. She gave me a lot of great advice too. And she died maybe like a year before my husband passed. So she lived until she was 92 years old. And she's only been dead about 3.5 years.
So that was tremendous year.
And she raised not only me and my brother, she had a granddaughter and a great grandkid. She raised it well as well. So she was one of those ladies who raised all the kids in the family.
Were you popular?
I was popular.
You were popular.
I was so she made us do every activity in the world. Like we were tired of activities. I mean, I was a Girl Scout. I was a Brownie. I was in a 4-H club. I played basketball. I was a cheerleader. I was in modeling school. I had to go to college. Like she was like that lady.
So but you weren't insecure in that way. Like you felt like, okay. And what about relationship history before Greg? Were you attracted to good men? Did you I know you've talked about abuse, and I don't know who that was with. I don't know that story.
I do feel like my uncle, who was my father raising me, I think that I was in a way attracted to men that were abusive because I had dealt with my upbringing had some abuse in it. But I didn't recognize that until I was in those relationships. So I've always been in really long relationships. I am a relationship person. I really like relationships. I don't like really being single. I'm not a girl that will really be out like dating.
Right.
Like, and I also think that I'm not attracted to a lot of men. I love men, but I always feel like it's like a special some kind of guy. It's not like some girls, they're like, oh, I like him. I don't. Like it has to be like a special guy for me. I don't know what that is, but every man I see, I'm not attracted to them.
And and I know that because I know you broke up with Greg very publicly, and it was so shocking that you got back together because it was so public.
But I got to tell you, see, I in high school, I had a boyfriend. My aunt was very strict. So she told me I couldn't date until I was 16. And then when I turned 16, she told me I was too childish. So I couldn't date at 16. About 17, almost 17, she let me start dating. I had a boyfriend all the way through high school. Then when I went off to college, I went to college in Atlanta, Georgia. So I've been there since I was 18. I went to Morris Brown College in the AU Center where they have Clark Spelman, Morehouse. Everybody knows all of those schools. And so I got a boyfriend right as I got on campus, and I started dating him for a short time. And then I met my oldest son's father. He had come to my campus.
This is where you have the grandchildren with? He is...
that's who I have my son with, my first child with. I met him in college.
And he has the
He has the grandkids.
3 kids.
Yes, he does.
Okay, got it.
And so he was abusive. So he was really my first real boyfriend. I didn't have sex until I was a freshman in college.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to have sex, prior to that, but of course I couldn't. My aunt was saying I was really immature, and I was saying like all the girls in my neighborhood were using birth control, and it was kind of like a public thing. They would go to the neighborhood like
the Planned Parenthood.
The Planned Parenthood. We would call it a clinic,
right?
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt pressure, like everybody is taking birth control pills. It was like a little round pack, and he used to turn it, press the pill, and I was like, I don't even have any boobs. I was like late developing. I was like,
and your
happening?
ex was the first person you ever had sex with?
Yes, my son's father.
But multiple times, and you were in a relationship with him?
Yes, I was for about 6 years, 7 years.
Okay, and is your relationship good with your son?
With my son, yes. And I have a relationship with him now, his father.
Really?
Yes, he was abusive to me.
Has he acknowledged that?
I don't know that he would ever acknowledge that.
It's just not discussed.
But he knows that I acknowledge it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, this is real, and you did what you did. You know what I mean?
Right.
But after that relationship, I will tell you, this is how I met Greg. I was really in a bad abusive relationship. I don't even want to go into how bad he was to me.
You were low.
Once I finally got away from him, I said, I'm never dating another guy. If you even just talk mean to me, like just say something mean to me, then I was going to be out. So every guy I talked to, and if they were like, you bitch, and I'm like, okay, that's it.
Any red flags, you were out.
Yeah, I was out. And so when I met Greg, I'd never dated an older man before. I always dated guys that were my age. And when I met Greg, I was like, he's not my type. I don't think so. He asked me to go on a date. I thought when he picked me up, he opened up the doors and he gave me roses and chocolate. I thought that was corny.
Weirdo.
Yeah, and I was like, what is going on? And why did he pull up here in his car like that? I'm not recognizing the gentleman in him, and that is the way a lady should be treated. I just thought that, he was like too old school for me, is what I thought.
Well, you probably didn't have the self-worth to accept that someone could just love you and be good to you.
No. And I remember the first date we went to. We went, it was during the Olympics at Benihana's in Atlanta. Okay. They were fairly new. It was super crowded. And when we got there, they said that there would be a wait and that he and I could sit at the bar. And he said, well, it's going to be a wait and we can sit at the bar. And I was like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, Lord have mercy. They say it's going to be a wait, and I got to sit here and talk to this man. This is crazy. And so I get at the bar and I sit, and no lie, we had a drink and we were just chatty. They finally called us for our table. And at Benihana's, you sit with all these people when they do this little hibachi thing in the front of you, right? And I didn't know what to order. And he said, I'll order for you. And he did. And we had the best freaking day. We talked the whole time. I remember leaving out of Benihana saying, that was a nice day.
Nice.
I always credit Greg for teaching me how to eat dessert. I never went to a restaurant and they said, would you like to see the dessert menu? And we would always say, no, thank you. Dessert menu. And he was like, yes, let's look at the desserts.
Because he wanted to spend more time with you. He wanted to spend more time with you. But
he always was a dessert guy.
I'm a dessert person.
We had a dessert. I remember getting back in the car thinking that was a great date.
How old were you?
I met Greg. I was 28.
And how old was he? I didn't know how much older
he was. Like 41.
Oh, so it is a different 13. Okay.
It was 13 years different.
And then we were off to the races, or?
No, we were not off to the races. He said to me the next day, he said, would you like to go out to lunch? And I was like, okay, sure. And I was just thinking I was going out to eat. Like, I just want to go eat all the time, right? And he said to me one day at lunch, he said, you know, girl, one day you're going to be my wife.
Stop.
And I said, it is not possible, sir. Like, I will never be your wife, okay? Let's be clear. And he was like, I'm going to marry you one day, girl.
Was he the love of your life?
He was. The love of my life. Like, I tell everybody this. I don't know that I will ever experience this type of love ever again in my life. I think I have experienced the ultimate love. And I don't think that you experience that but once in a lifetime. I don't think there's anybody else out here for me. I did not like Greg. In fact, I thought he had on nice shoes. I did not like his pants. I did not like anything. Honestly, when I tell you that man charmed me, he told me, like knowing him like 2 weeks in, he said, you remind me of my mom and you're going to be my wife one day.
And
I was like, wow.
That is beautiful.
I said, there's no fucking way he has lost his mind. I'm not going to be his wife.
And sure enough, you were. And I was
6 months into dating, we got engaged.
Really?
6 months. 1 year after dating, we were married.
I was thinking today, and the many thoughts I've had about you, what would he have told you if you asked him if you should do this today? That's what I was thinking.
You know, I believe that Greg would have been probably 50-50.
50-50.
I know him. He would, and the reason why I say that is because he will be thinking to himself, Greg likes to keep the peace. I don't know if there's going to be a problem. What's going to happen? If he knew everything that was happening right now today around me, he probably would be 50-50. He probably would be like, I'm not sure.
And maybe that's difficult for you that he was your sounding board and you're going through all of this alone. The biggest thing that's ever really happened.
I've needed him so much since he's been gone.
You know what I mean? Like, this is some big shit. You're dealing with big girl shit. And we're older now, and we're thinking, we're reflecting on our lives and what the meaning is. And you've been through it. Okay, so...
You know what I would tell him right now?
What?
Is I would always laugh at him because he always wore glasses and he would be squinching. He said, oh, one of these days, you're going to be squinching your eyes like that too, and you're going to need some glasses too. And I have to say, Greg, I think I need glasses.
The day is here.
The
day is here.
I'm starting to squinch.
Well, I don't remember how you and I first met. I remember one time being in Atlanta and us having dinner. I remember us doing a whole plane ride together, presumably from Atlanta.
Yes.
And I remember a couple of things you said to me, which will be interesting. And I haven't spent that much time with you. I've always just admired you from afar. But on the plane, you said to me that you can only ever... Oh, sorry. And the third time I saw you, you came to an event that I was doing with two of your girlfriends.
That's right.
And you said to me, and you were the new girl in town. You were in the new show in town. This is crazy, you guys. I was on the New York Housewives. Atlanta and Jersey came later. We thought, oh my God, what a dumb idea. You know, there were new people coming in. We were probably wanting to... be protective over it, and we didn't understand it. And Jersey came in, and Atlanta was coming in, and NeNe came. I invited her. I don't know why or how we knew each other, but she came to an event of mine, a cocktail event. She brought two girlfriends, and she said, I have to leave them here with you because I have to go be Andy's date for a party because she was the new shiny toy. Yes. You were the new popular girl. We were ready. I had dust on me. So you left your friends with me at a party.
You know where I went, right?
No.
I went to Anderson Cooper's house.
Oh, yes. You were the new shiny toy. You left me with your friends. I took your friend. How funny is it? I took your friends to three places. One was a Gotham magazine party, and Beyonce performed for like 200 people. They thought I was the coolest person they ever met. I didn't even know she was going to perform, but I took them. Beyonce gets on stage, and then I take them to a club, and they will verify this. I take them to a club. We get to the front, and the guy at the front won't let us in. And so we go inside to STK, and I'm pissed off. We go inside, and I'm like, I'm fucking pissed. And they're like, don't worry about it. We're having fun here. The music's good here. And I'm like, no, I'm pissed. And I email the owners of the place, and I say, you're not going to let me downstairs. And we walk back the front, and I started cursing the guy out in front. I said, you're going to fucking let us in here. And they let me and your two friends in. We go downstairs, and I meet my ex-husband, my daughter's father. So I wish I listened. Well, I love my daughter. She's beautiful, but it was a challenging 10-year divorce, and I wish I listened to them to stay at STK.
Let me tell you something. Isn't that crazy?
Except for my daughter.
That we were together, and I needed to go to Anderson Cooper's house, and I didn't want to bring any guests with me to Anderson Cooper's house.
No, you want to roll tight.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go and meet Andy. He's already there. And this girl meet her husband that
That
night.
night. Is that insane?
That night, the DJ, he was DJing.
It was the 10th of June.
Yeah, he was DJing.
Who was DJing?
Wasn't he DJing?
Oh, no. That was their 10th anniversary. No, he was just there and I was dancing.
Okay.
And yeah, no. So I met my ex on that night, which is insane.
Did.
But then on the...
I went to Anderson Cooper's house. He lives in that firehouse department, a house or whatever.
I went there once.
And I thought it was so creative. I was like, wow, so this is how you have to get a house in New York City. You have to buy a fire department. And I remember he still had the little thing in the middle of the floor. And I thought it was just beautiful and creative.
Well,
he loved me. It was so interesting how
Andy
him and
loved
Andy,
you.
Anderson Cooper loved me.
Oh, I mean, who didn't love you?
It was so surprising how him and Andy became friends because Anderson loved me.
Anderson loved you, and you have to admit that you were the favorite child at that point, right? You guys were.
Was I the favorite? If I had to be honest, looking back, I probably thought I was the favorite. I didn't see everything that was to come.
I understand. But at that time, you were definitely, I think. I mean, because I
probably was thinking to myself, I'm his favorite.
I felt a little jilted. I mean, if I didn't know, I wouldn't know. But you were just like, oh, my friends are staying here because I'm going with Andy. And I thought, oh, interesting. Like my mind just, and I became the favorite at some point, and we all, and I often think about that, which we're definitely getting into. But on that plane, you said to me, when we were on a plane together, you said, I only can focus on one thing at a time. I can only do one thing well at a time. Do you feel that way anymore?
No, I can definitely multitask. Honey, are you kidding me?
Does that make sense that you said that?
Yes, but I can multitask now.
I believe you.
Life.
I agree with you. You have to.
You have to.
So am I allowed to ask about that you danced and that came out on the show? Okay, so explain that journey.
You mean stripper?
Yeah.
So
what were you doing in work overall? Because that was part of your journey.
I was a single mom at the time, and I had gotten away from the person I was dating.
Yep.
That was abusing me, and I needed a job. And strip clubs are very popular in Atlanta. It's a nude state where you can be completely nude. I know a lot of states are, topless or whatever, but not Georgia. And all the college girls on my campus were dancing. And I just looked in a paper and it said nude models. Well, I used to model. So I thought, okay, well, surely I can be a nude model. Let me just go and see. And it landed me inside of Cheetah's strip club.
Is it a good one? Is it still there?
It's a good one. It's not there anymore now, but it's a very good one.
Okay.
Actually, Cheaters is still there. It was the Gold Club that wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked inside, and I'd never done this before. I just needed to make some money. I was a single mom. And they asked you to see the house mom upstairs, the house mom, whatever. And when I got upstairs, she said we had to take our clothes off, and I took my clothes off, and then she said that we need to go out on the dance floor. They gave us like something to go out and just let her see us dance for a few seconds.
Were you a good dancer to begin with?
I know how to dance.
You know how to move.
But I didn't know how to dance like that. Like being all sexy. I was like, okay, this is some new stuff. So I'm looking around at other girls, and I'm learning that, I need to get sexy with it. And
slow, right? What are the tips?
The rest is history. I end up being in the strip club lifestyle for probably a good 3 years.
What was that like? Were people respectful? Did you make a lot of money? Like, what was it like?
I worked at really nice strip clubs. So, there's some trashy ones, and there's some that are really nice, where all the girls are driving nice cars and the men are really tipping. And I worked on day shift a lot because I was a single mom.
Okay.
And my son would be in school during the day. So I would drive him to school, a private school. I would drive him to a private school, and then I'd drive my ass to the strip club.
Did he know what your job was?
No, he was very young.
He was very young. And do you ever run into anyone? Do you speak to anyone you worked with? Has it ever come around?
I have ran into a couple of girls that I've danced with in the past, but no.
And isn't it funny that think about all the things when we were on reality TV that we didn't mention, and because you were probably ashamed, and now you would come right out with it.
I did.
Later, but someone tried to bust you, which is the whole game.
No, it was on season 1 or 2. We had Derek Blanks as our photographer, and we did these photos where we were, I can't remember what he called them, but, our one life and then our past life. In my past life, I was a stripper.
And you came out with it? You came.
Actually, yeah.
I thought,
did
for some
it.
reason, I thought it was that someone said something and you felt like you had to bring it. You brought it into the show.
No, I talked about it and did it on a whole thing. I always kind of owned it because honestly, the truth is I kind of really liked it.
I've always been intrigued by it.
Yeah, I kind of really liked it. It's the weirdest thing, but I really did like it.
You felt empowered?
I did. And I actually could control a lot of guys too. So I kind of liked it. I did.
You were in charge, you were in control, and you probably learned
I wrote
a lot.
about it in my book. I think maybe around season 3, I wrote a memoir and I talked about my life as a stripper. Like I kind of always talked about it because it taught me a lot, honestly. It taught me a lot. I could finally, for the first time, pay my rent and my light bills and not have to ask anybody.
It was you were in charge.
Yes,
it was your decision.
I got me a new car from the strip club. The strip club actually really helped me a lot.
So where did you go from there? Like, what was your next job, and how did you get out of there?
My next job, craziest thing is I had met my husband, met Greg. I had started working for Lancome Cosmetics inside of Macy's.
Oh, doing people's makeup?
No, selling makeup.
Oh, but you don't have to know how to give a makeover?
Is Lancome still around?
Yeah, of course Lancome still. They have a great under-eye concealer and good mascara.
Lancome.
Yeah, of course Lancome.
So I started working for Lancome. I worked inside of Macy's. And I kind of moved around the department store on the bottom floor doing perfumes, doing makeup.
Very social.
Yes. And when I met my husband was the breadwinner. And he kind of took me from working, period.
So you weren't really a career woman then? Like,
No.
You weren't that driven. You were driven, but you didn't know what you were moving towards.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. Now, when I got married, I knew I wanted to be an actress, right?
So did you want fame or you wanted to be an actress? Or were they mixed together?
Actress. I never thought... I never thought about reality TV. I only thought about I'm an actress.
It didn't really exist.
And I wanted to be an actress. So once I got my husband and I'm sitting at home and I don't have anything to do, I started taking acting classes.
In Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
Okay.
Nick Conti, hey, how are you doing? He was our acting coach. And so I took my acting class and my husband would pay for them. And my husband never thought for 1 second that I would make it, okay? So,
what does that mean? What does that sentence mean?
I just think
he thought it was a cute little hobby you were doing on the side?
Like, I don't think that he ever thought, and I would tell him that I want to go to Hollywood one day. And I was dreaming of going to Hollywood. I love the sunset sign that I would see like pictures of. I wish I could see that sign that says sunset. And I finally, years passed, and my husband was able to purchase me a ticket to go to pilot season in California.
But how? Who's representing you? How do you know what you're doing in pilot
Nobody
season?
was representing me. I was representing myself.
So perfect.
So let me tell you what
I
was doing. I took headshots in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I had a book that lists all the agents. So I was stuffing envelopes.
I had that same book
with my freaking black and white headshot.
And no one's ever going to call you back. Don't say somebody called you back.
No one's
ever going to call you back.
You know what? I probably got one call. But nobody ever really called me back. And I learned that there was this thing called pilot season where you go out to LA and all these opportunities are there where they weren't really there like that.
Because you have to be represented.
Right.
And the only way that's how I went to the
Mm-hmm.
Church of Scientology because somebody called me back from a thing and I ended up at the Church of Scientology.
So I ended up learning about this agency that use extras. Pay you, I don't know, extra casting and pay us $25 or something to sit. So I got a
Central Casting.
Central Casting.
Yeah, Central Casting.
I became a part of Central Casting. They would send me everywhere to be an extra. And I would sit there and be like, I don't know why I'm not acting. Why are all these people like, I could do that. I could do this. I could do that. I could do this. And one day I met Robbie Reed Humes. I tell everybody, Robbie Reed Humes changed my life.
Who is that? Do I know him?
Oh, she's a female. She's a very big casting director out in Los Angeles. She's a black woman.
Okay.
She was casting all of the African-American shows like Girlfriends, The Parkers. That was with Monique and I think her name is Countess or something. All of those shows. And she was working with Ruben Studdard. He was another big casting director out there. And I was like, I got to get to them and I got to get to them. And this is when I know that Hollywood was tricky. So I went in, I auditioned. Robbie loved me. And I auditioned for this big role for Fighting Temptations. And it was going to be Cuba Gooding Jr. and Beyonce and a lot of people in there. And she loved me for the part. They called me back and said I did not get the part. They loved me, but I didn't get it. But they had an idea for me to be, guess what, a stripper.
But coincidentally, or because they knew? You're saying
I don't know if they knew or not, but the role of a stripper, I was like, okay, so I ended up doing that part.
Of course.
I did. I took it. I ended up being the little stripper really quick. A little part where Cuba was walking into some night spot, and it was me and a couple girls on stage dancing. And we may have said something like, "Hey, welcome to the." I mean, I don't know. And from that, I needed to get. You have to get.
You got under 5.
Yeah, you have to get
your line. SAG after card.
That was they make you do a whole lot more now.
I know.
To get it.
Oh, really?
And I really needed to get it. And I was so thankful to Robbie Reed for helping me to get it.
You had a SAG card.
Yeah, I had a SAG card. From that point on, she ended up calling me to do a part in Girlfriends, and I just started doing little parts where I maybe had 1 line or 2 words.
You were in the game,
but I was in the game. Girl.
And did Greg had money to support you? Like
he did.
He was doing
so
well.
Greg was doing really well for himself. And I was his stay-at-home, young, fabulous, beautiful wife. And so he flew me out to Los Angeles. And then I would fly back. And I did that probably for the next 4 years. And
Sweetie, you've been doing that for 30 years. You're still doing it
anything.
now.
Well, kind of, sort of, yeah.
You've always
I didn't
been
get
doing
a
that.
dang thing, right?
You got a SAG card.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But so I got back to Atlanta and I said to myself, obviously, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be a housewife. I'm not going to waste money going back to Los Angeles.
Because you got a little defeated.
Yeah, I got defeated.
How old are you at this point now?
I'm in my 30s.
You got a little defeated.
So I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And the moment I got defeated, that's when I met the lady who said, guess what? The Real Housewives of Orange County casting director is coming to Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, Orange County? I mean, this is Atlanta. Why would Orange County be coming around? And they were like, no. I mean, they're looking for the cast in Atlanta. But it's going to be something like the Orange County Housewives, but they're going to call it the Ladies of Atlanta or something. And I said, honey, you need to send them my way.
Right, because you didn't care what it was. You were getting your ass in the door.
Send them my way, honey. And she said, well, you have to live behind gates. I said, oh, honey, I live behind gates.
So they came to you
and she sent the lady to me, honey, and the rest was history. I was not looking for reality because I've always been an actress.
No, but you need to get your ass in that door.
Yeah, but my whole thing was I'm an actress. I want to be an actress. What are we doing
here?
The
door closed. You went through the window.
Yes,
you had to get through the goddamn window.
Well, let me tell you something about this casting director, the lady who was doing it.
And you know her name, right?
Yeah, Princess Batten.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I blew her off for probably a good 2 weeks. She kept calling.
Why? I did the same thing, but I was scared.
I didn't really know, You
didn't understand what the medium was.
Yeah, and I didn't really know what the whole reality, how that was going to be.
Yep.
And so she said, are you going to take this meeting or not? And that's how she kind of got rough with me, like on the last phone call. And I was like, okay, girl, you can come tomorrow. And no joke.
So you were one of the first ones cast on that show, for sure.
You were the first one.
You were the first one.
Yes.
Okay.
I was the first one.
Okay. So now you enter into it, and do you think you're on something hot? You think this is going to be a thing?
No. I remember all of us girls getting together. Listen, I know this story like it was yesterday. I say to Princess leaves my house, and she called me before she gets out of my gate. She said, we love you. Who are your friends? And, I started naming everybody. Sheree Whitfield.
These were your real friends?
Yeah. Me and Sheree and Greg and Bob, we were all really friends.
Okay. Oh, and, her husband, you were foursome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her husband was playing in the NFL at the time. And so we would go with Sheree and Bob to the game a lot. So I said Sheree Whitfield, Kim Zolciak.
And how did you know Kim?
Well, Kim and I lived in the neighborhood across the street from Kim at the time. We ended up living in the same neighborhood. But at this time, she lived across the street. And our children, my baby boy and her daughter, went to the same little daycare in the neighborhood.
And she was single. Dating that guy, Big Papa, but single.
Actually, when I met her, she was dating a different guy.
Okay. But you really liked her? Like, she was very cool?
You know what? We had the same trainer at the gym, too. And I was very interested in her. Because when I would see her at the gym, she would have a big blonde wig on. She would have a cigarette. And who the fuck is on the treadmill with a cigarette and, walking on the treadmill? And back at this time, this jogging suit was out real popular called Juicy.
Yes.
Do you remember the brand?
Yeah, the velvet. She had every color.
She had every color. Yeah, velour. She had every color. And I would be so interested
Who is this
in her.
bitch?
Yeah, she would walk in with jewelry and this velour juicy couture thing on. And
so she was rocking that without the camera. She was just that bitch.
And I would be looking at her like, this is an interesting white lady.
Yeah.
And I just could never get over because actually, I'm a black girl. I never really saw white women with wigs on.
This is an interesting white lady is the line of 2023.
A wig on. And
right.
I never
But no
really,
white women don't wear wigs.
I don't really see white women with wig on like that. And
at the gym, too.
At the gym. The thing about it is it looked like a wig to me. So that's why I was like, wow, this lady is really interesting. She has on a wig, a Juicy Couture sweatsuit, a lot of jewelry,
smoking a cigarette.
She has a lot of things. She pull up in a nice crowd side, and her kids are all dressed up with tutus and just
the whole thing.
There's all kind of stuff on. And I would be so interested in her that I talked to her one day. And me and her kind of hit it off from talking like that. And when the producers would come down to talk to us about this show called The Ladies of Atlanta, I said to them, I have this white lady I want to introduce you guys to. And they said, no. This is going to be an all African-American cast, and we're not interested. And I said to them, you really need to meet this white lady. This is a different kind of white lady.
Yes, and she is a different kind of white lady.
And so they were like, they really weren't interested. And we were all meeting in Atlanta. They were flying down. Brian Hale. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Yes. And so I said, I want you to meet her. I'm going to bring her to the lunch. I begged him to go with me to the lunch. She came to the lunch. Seriously, these people were gun-ho on this is going to be an all-African-American cast. The moment Kim walked in that room, they were just like me. They were like, wow. I'm telling you, 5 minutes in, they were scratching their head.
But you know that, and I know that you've had your ups and downs with her, but, you have to be grateful that you did bring her in because the two of you made each other better.
No, I knew Kim was going to be good.
You guys together, you guys were Jill and myself. You guys were.
I knew she was going to be good.
You guys together.
I just needed them to know it. When they saw Kim, oh, my God, they were like, honey.
But now.
We can't even turn this down.
So she was your good, go ahead.
Not good girlfriend. She was just, a lady I knew in the gym.
But then you start to nurture it through the show because nothing is real. You're living two worlds. That's me and Jill. You're nurturing a relationship that's all about the show.
Yes.
And the audience is seeing you become closer and closer. And there's no other way to do it because you're on the battlefield and you need someone next to you. And that's why it's challenging when audiences say, oh, but you guys are best friends. But the show needs you to be best friends because they won't cast if you don't seem like you're best friends.
Yes, Kim came in with her cigarette and her gum and she was these motherfuckers. She just was so many things. Those people were looking like we have to have her.
But were you ever very close? Would you call yourselves close or were show friends?
I think I would never say we were very close. I would say that we were very cool.
Very cool. Do you regret going to the mattresses with her on the show?
No, I can't say that I do.
Because do you feel that, I always say that the show, it's a zero-sum game. Someone always has to be winning and someone always has to be losing. Yeah. So you are either getting killed or killing somebody. There's really very little middle.
That's very good.
It's the mafia.
Yeah.
You're killing or being killed. If you're not, if you don't know who's getting whacked, you're getting whacked.
Yes.
So I had a makeup person here today doing my makeup and he's good friends with Tinsley. And I was saying I really liked her, which wouldn't be evident by the show because she was, she was a fine housewife, a nice girl, but it's called get out of the way. The grown-ups are on the battlefield and that's the way the game is played. So it's very difficult for the audience to understand why you have a friend and then you don't have a friend because if there's something that somebody has on you, they're gonna fucking bring it to the center of the table because that's what the game is.
That kind of sucks, but
Am I wrong?
You're right.
Has there ever been anything not brought to the front of the table?
No,
that's in
everything. You cannot share anything with any of those girls.
Or have any secrets.
No, you can't have any secrets.
Right. So do you, so what about fame? What about money? You're coming on the show. That was the beginning when we started too, when you were wearing your normal clothes. You didn't know that you're supposed to be in a photo shoot every day. Once in a while you get hair and makeup, but I was sitting there in my raggedy clothes.
Me too.
And all of a sudden, the game starts moving quickly and it gets glamorous and you're competing. And so what about the money, the cars, all that shit on the show?
I was the underdog.
Coming in.
I was the underdog because Sheree was married to Bob and he had money. He was a football player. Kim was dating Big Papa and he had all this money. Deshaun Snow was with Eric Snow. He was an NBA player. Lisa Wu was married to a football player. And my husband was just a regular executive working,
And you felt poor and not interesting?
No, I didn't feel poor because we were living very nicely. I was the underdog though. My husband didn't have the money that these guys had.
Got it.
And we were definitely the underdog.
But how did that affect you? How did that feel? Did you feel insecure about it? Did you want to prove something?
I didn't. I just knew, I don't know how I knew this. I knew like 2 weeks into shooting that I had to be myself, though. That's the only thing I had. And I said to myself, I feel like every time the cameras come on,
same exact.
I feel like
and
every
you thought
time
about it. You don't want to show this. You want to show. And you said, "Fuck it, I'm going all in."
I said, I'm just gonna just be me because this is not working. Like I can't pretend to be somebody else. I'm gonna just have to be myself.
Yep.
So I just kind of went in like being myself. I did not know that that was going to work for me. Now, mind you, these girls are wearing designer everything. And I am like, girl, I am just with my few little pieces. I don't have the pieces that they have, but my few little pieces, we're going to make it work out. Lo and behold, I really think that they thought that they were going to be the real popular ones when I look back on it, but they said they were not.
You were the bust out star. The bloop. That was
and
it.
I think because, you know why? I think because I was regular kind of, I was the underdog. And I think everybody liked me because I was the underdog.
But did you believe your own bullshit? Did you buy into it? Did you like take it to the next level and get, because you think you did?
No. I if you're saying did I get glam and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
No, but there was a drastic change in original NeNe, and then all of a sudden you moved into rich bitch and the cars and the glitz, and everybody's game started to elevate, and it looked like a lot of pressure. Like I look at Beverly Hills and I feel pressure. I would not. I would be like Denise Richards showing up on the balcony in pajamas, where you guys were elevating the game, and every week it was a new hairstyle and a new handbag and a new car and a new show, and it felt a competitive sport, the Bentleys and the cars, and
I would say that it
African princes.
Yes, I would think that it was somewhat competitive in Atlanta. Everybody has a big house. I mean, it's Georgia. I mean, so everybody can, right? And it's a lot more affordable to live in Georgia than it is to live in New York, you know? So people can't afford a nice size house, right? And I think that Kim was with Big Papa. He was giving her everything. I just think that I don't know.
You felt the pressure to be rich. You felt the pressure. Yeah, I could see that. And then also the cameras add everything. Yeah. So do you feel, now looking back, do you feel that, I often say that the situations the interaction is real. Yes. But the circumstances might not be real. So it's not that you're necessarily friends with these people and having these conversations. And do you feel that it's real? Do you feel that it was real? Do you feel that it changed? Because I have a feeling when it changed in my mind, but I want to hear from you.
So I will tell you, when we entered season 1, it was real. Everything we said and did was real. The way our relationships fell apart were real. There were me and Kim fell out. We really fell out. Like, we didn't make that shit up. Like, we really bumped heads. Me and Sheree really bumped heads.
But why? Was it because of the show? Would you have bumped heads if it weren't for the show?
You know, me and Sheree were already bumping heads before the first camera ever even rolled.
Oh, okay.
We had already started like falling out.
Okay.
So it was really real.
Oh, it was really real.
It was really real. And I think for us, I feel like the relationship started changing. The stories to me, like, season 4 or 5, we were real. I often look at them and say that everybody on there is making shit up.
Now, and storylines and what they're doing.
Yes, that was not that way.
But don't you think it's also because the game has been elevated? Every photo shoot has happened. Every leg has been thrown. Table has been flipped. And they've seen all the previous seasons now when they come on. So they feel like they have to do something.
They do. I'm telling you, when we entered, we were so good because we were real.
It was, it was my favorite show.
It was authentic as I don't know what. We were real.
I know.
And so now everybody has a fake boyfriend, a fake everything. Everything is fake. Everything. And they have all these stories they made up. I don't even know how they came up with them.
Everything is fake. Do you feel, so I've spoken to a lot of women on a lot of different shows, and they've taken antidepressants, the pressure gets to them, the media, etc. Did you ever go really low while on the show in that way? Did you ever feel like
I was on camera going low a couple of times.
Before the Greg stuff and before the later stuff, which we're going to get in.
If you remember, sometimes I can't call the season. It may have been season 5 or 6. I just know we were at the reunion. I was in all white. Dr. Jeff had come on our show.
Oh, I remember.
I felt it was a lot going on. With all the girls were ganging up on me, I felt a lot of pressure, and I really felt low at the reunion. I think I got up and walked out for the reunion. Dr. Jeff was there to try to help us get through it. I think there were a couple times, and then after that, the other time was my husband. But yeah.
Well, when you broke up with Greg the first time, do you think that the show played a part in it? Do you think that the show had a negative effect on your relationship?
I have to be honest. I can't say that the show was 100% for me and Greg's marriage because we were together long before I walked on the show. We fell apart because we were falling apart, honestly. The show did not help because I felt like my husband started feeling, it's crazy, I know it's crazy, but my husband started feeling really intimidated by me having my own money.
Oh, interesting. That's a dynamic.
That's really was not here for me to have my own money.
It scared him.
I never saw that in him.
Yes, that makes
But
sense.
he wasn't
because you never had your own money. That's why you never saw that.
So, I mean, I didn't need him to ask him for a bag or get my hair done or anything like that. And I feel like my husband got really intimidated by that. He would actually walk around and be like, she's gone Hollywood. And I'm like, he is really tripping.
Oh.
Like, this is my own. He didn't like that at all. My husband was a man's man. He was the kind of guy who provides. And he liked providing. And it made him feel good to provide. And it made him feel good for me to need him. And I kind of no longer needed him financially. Did
you go Hollywood?
I don't think I went Hollywood. I felt like I just had some money.
You were evolving.
Yeah. And I was with him since I was 28. And I just think that I was my own woman now. And I had my own money. I still loved him, but he was not happy about me having my own money. I will say that I did have more control or power, if you will. So,
do you feel emasculated?
You know what? I've been asked that before, and I feel like I may have done that to him a couple times.
I get that. You're strong. You're strong.
Yeah,
woman.
I feel like I may have done that, not intentionally, but looking back, like I may have said things to him that was like, I don't know, probably because I had my own money, and I probably was like, you know what? I don't really need you like that, sir.
How did you get back together? Whose choice was that?
Crazy thing. He moved out. He moved out probably about a mile or 2 miles from our house. And I would drop my son off when it was time for him to have visitation with his dad. And Greg and I wasn't speaking. And how we ended up speaking is I dropped Brent off one day and I was picking him up. And he got in the car with me. He said, my dad said to tell you hi. And I was like, and then he was like, he's in the door, Mom. Look, my dad is saying hi. And I looked and I was like, boy, hi. And kind of from that, we just started talking.
You missed him.
It was kind of weird that he spoke to me that day, and I was like, boy, get out of here.
But was he more comfortable with your Fame Part 2? When he came back, did he
Yes.
change? He got more comfortable with the situation?
Yeah, I think he just kind of like became silent then. I think he was like, oh, forget it, whatever. NeNe is NeNe now. But he spoke to me, and that kind of like all it kind of took. I did hear that I knew he had a girl that he was dating. I went over there one night. I wasn't supposed to. I mean, he wasn't my boyfriend, and we had already divorced. But I think I was feeling territorial. I went by his place. I knew she was there, and his house was dark on the front of the house. It looked completely dark. And something told me, walk around the back. Now, why in the hell am I at this man's house in the nighttime, and they're saying, walk around the back? And I'm going to tell you why, because men are stupid. And so this is how this goes. I call him from a restaurant, and he and I are talking left and right. We're just talking for a long time. He says, I'm going to call you back. I mean, we've probably been on the phone for like a couple hours talking. He says, I'm going to take a bath, and I'll call you back. Well, he's probably drowned by now. He hasn't called. It's been like 2 hours. Like, what is going on? Where are you? And I called. He wouldn't answer. So a part of me was like, did he drown? Or did somebody come over there? I think I'll drive over his house. So I drove over there, and the front of his house was dark. And then I said, okay, maybe he's asleep. And then somebody said, no, girl, park the car and get out. And I got out and I walked around the back of his house and I saw the lights on in the back. And he had blinds, and you know how the blinds could be kind of open a little bit. And I peeked through the blind, and I saw him sitting at the bar with a girl.
And did you set the house on fire?
I knocked on the door. I said, hello, somebody sitting there. And they went like, quiet, everyone. And I was like, okay, you're not going to open the door? He would not open the door. I went home, and no lie, maybe about an hour or two later, I got a call from a number I didn't know. I said, hello. And this woman said, are you and Greg still together? And me being the bad NeNe that I could be, I said, yes, we are still married. No, we are divorced, girl. I was like, yes, we are still married. And she was like, oh my God. And I was like, girl, get off my line.
And that was that.
I was like, Greg, you better come back home now.
Do you think you can sustain a friendship or a relationship on reality TV? A healthy relationship?
You guys have to be very, very strong.
What about friendships? Can you have a really strong friendship? No way, right?
No way.
I agree. I
don't believe that you can. I don't care how strong you are in your friendship. The weakest link is the one they're going to get. Because I always say they can't get me. Well, but the weakest link, they will.
It's also that, they'll always get the weakest link. But also that many times it feels really strong because, like I said, you're in battle together and you feel it. And all you talk, you notice you have friends on the show. All you talk about is the show. Yeah. Next time we're going to do a show. That scene we just did. That scene we're going to do. The press came out. The reunion. It's all you talk about.
You know the thing with me and my friendship. Like I can give you an example. Like for Marlo, for example,
she's still a friend.
We're still friends.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're friends, but the friendship is different now that she is a housewife on the show.
While she's on and you're off.
Yeah, and I'm off. Oh, yeah. So it seems like, kind of like you were not friends.
She doesn't really want to talk to you about anything that's going on because the producers are telling her not to tell you anything.
And not to, be friendly with me.
So there's like a big elephant in the room with half the things she's talking about.
But I have to say, when we were on the show together, we were friends, and she knew that she wasn't my puppet or whatever it is, and they would say things like, you're kissing NeNe's ass and da 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 da, and she knew that wasn't happening, but somehow they got into her head, and she was like, everybody thinks that I'm like kissing your ass, and I'm not kissing your, and so she wanted to be like her own.
Yeah, but because
person or something, her own whatever, I don't know.
The audience doesn't understand that. It's designed for drama.
Yeah, it
is. So, if something's designed for drama and you put a bunch of people together in a very stressful situation, alcohol always sounds like a great idea. You ever, how thirsty would you be? Like, you're thirsty and you're drinking alcohol. Yeah. It seems like a great idea. Yeah. You get wasted. You say something stupid. Yeah. You say something else stupid. You can't stop down. You're in your head about it. Yeah. You know 6 months from now you're going to live it. Yeah. And it's a perpetual state of stress. You get home, you get back in the car from a scene, you talk to a producer who tells you whatever you want to hear, but you're hearing the opposite thing from the other person because they're being told whatever they want to hear by a producer, and you do it all over again for the name of fame and money, which is why people are on antidepressants and anti-anxiety.
Well, I think also it just depends on, they're definitely being told, like if you have a friend on this show, like you need to get out of her ass and go be friends with this person. They kind of, I don't know. There's just no way possible to have a friendship and be on these shows.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's a whiteboard in an office. Have you seen the whiteboards? There's a whiteboard in an office that says this one should go with this one, and then they got to go talk about that. And you're in the car, and they're reminding you, make sure you tell NeNe you don't want to invite her to your party. And then you get out and you have your marching orders, but they've told NeNe, make sure you tell Bethany she slept with a younger man, and everybody's got their, and then then you come out and we're battling, and you're paranoid, and it's a state of anxiety. Yeah. You're constantly battling. You got to be winning, or you got to be killing, or you're getting killed. It's what's going on.
And to be honest with you, I don't even think it has to be that way.
Well, no, I don't
really think that it probably would be better if everybody just kind of went. I mean, you may need a little direction, but I don't feel like they have to do that.
Well, maybe a little direction. It's a different animal now because it's also competitive.
It is.
So I think that the arc in the entire franchise, and by the way, I explained that a franchise is like a Dunkin' Donuts franchise. Each store is managed differently. So Atlanta has a different management team, and that franchise could be nice and perfect, and New York could be sloppy and dirty. Yes. everybody thinks it's like one group just producing it. It's not. It's different little production companies that are producing, and that's a different franchisee. So I say that they're all different, but there are many similarities, and many of the producers go from one to the other. They're like a traveling circus that go and move around.
Yes.
And their job is, and the thing is, I talk about this, and we're about to get into the reality reckoning, but that it's the upside down, because what's celebrated on reality TV, if you tell someone to go fuck themselves and you out them and you say something and it's really explosive and it's going to change the season, you get rewarded in every other area of your life. And what we're teaching our kids to do in any other world, that would not be okay. So if Jane drinks 12 margaritas and she's an alcoholic and she went off the wagon, the cameras come flying in and the producers are high-fiving because Jane fucking went off the wagon, which is all they've been waiting for her to do anyway.
Yeah.
So when people say no one ever forced anyone to drink alcohol, that's true. But by having it everywhere and by people being sleep deprived and stressed and it be it being celebrated, it's an environment prone to drinking, screaming, shouting, stressing, sleep deprivation.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been told to drink alcohol. I personally like alcohol. So they don't have to tell me. I'm just kind of, thank you. Oh, we got drinks
But don't you feel like you drank more doing it? Because I did.
Probably.
You know? I mean,
I learned because, you learn, as time goes. I've definitely been drunk on camera before, but you do learn as time go on. Like I was like, we're doing a scene today. Okay, so I need to be very conscious, honey. I will not have a drink. I will have the drink. I'll sip out of it. I need to be very conscious. So you learn, as you stay on the show, you learn how to do it. Some people don't. Some people need a drink to take the edge off.
No, that's fair. I often did. I thought it was a good idea. You and I are both, we played the game very, very well. And we watched, just like two athletes watching each other's team play. I'm sure you've watched me play. Yeah. I'm sure I've definitely watched you play. And in watching you play, I sometimes saw you at reunions double down on being frustrated or furious and not like I said what I said. Like you always stuck to it, but sometimes in a way that I thought was like imploding. Like it was doing damage to yourself. Like you could just sort of hear what people were saying, absorb it, go a little calmer, a little gentler. And instead, I always watched you double and triple down. And I thought, you're going to make more trouble for yourself. You're going to make more, like you're going to add gasoline to the fire. And I want to talk about that. Like your style to me was like, fuck you and fuck all of you. And I don't give a fuck what you say. And that's what happened. And that's it. And it would be like no receiving of what anyone was saying. That's what I saw sometimes.
I feel like, I am the kind of person, for me, I keep it real. And it is what it is. And I'm not really the kind of person who backpedals. Now, I do understand that there's times when you need to apologize for things because I may see it one way, you may not see it that way, and I need to respect how you feel. So I do get that part. But I am the kind of girl who keeps it real. Now, I'm a different kind of girl, okay? Now, I used to be the kind of girl that keeps it 100, but now I keep it about 75.
Because you're playing the game a little. Because you're a little afraid.
Right.
And you know what's funny?
I don't think everybody wants 100.
That's so interesting. Because it's funny that you say that, and we're going to get into the closet and all that stuff, because it's funny that you say that. By the same token, when watching, there's a respect that I have for it in the way that you did keep it 100, because you're like, and we said it. Can we move on, motherfucker? Like, there's something about that I like, because there's something about me, because the thing is about society today, everybody fucking wants you to be totally real, but they don't really. Because if you really say what you think, if I say that I thought that Taylor Swift was over the top a little with the guy at the Kansas City Chiefs game, which I did, everybody says I'm bashing. I'm not bashing. I'm just saying a feeling that I had in my body, but you're not allowed to express. You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Again, you have to keep it about 75.
Interesting. That's a great line. That's a great, by the way, you should coin that. I'm keeping it 75.
About 75. Now, I think keeping it 100, you can keep it 100 with your very close circle.
Keeping it 75, that's brilliant. It's so, and it's a little sad.
It is.
It's a little sad because it's
but
not.
But it's okay though, because I'm gonna give you a little bit real, and then I'm gonna hold the rest back.
That's are you keeping it 100 today or 75?
No, I'm keeping it about 82.
Well, hopefully we're gonna raise the fucking grade because I'm not doing 8. I didn't get no B minus.
No. I will keep it 100. But
yeah,
honestly,
keep it 100.
This is serious. A lot of times people say they want to hear the truth, but honestly,
that's
they
what I'm
do
saying.
not.
No, by the way, I agree. I agree
because
with
when you walk out, they're like, "That was harsh," or "She was mean," or "That was too in your face."
You to weigh in on this.
Yes.
I want to hear what you think of it. You weigh in, then you get canceled. No, I know. It's
so
really...
now you just like, I gotta kind of. So this is how you do it. If you talk about Taylor and the guy, I don't know. A little over the top, you say. Okay, for the game. She looked beautiful. This is keeping it about 75.
You got to massage it and wrap it in frosting. Yeah, no, I know. I got to fucking wrap it in frosting and diapers. I know. I'm keeping it 93. I'm keeping it 93. I maybe haven't been through the same war you've been through.
I love it.
I'm keeping it 93. The closet, that scene in the closet, that was so famous. And again, and I think I wrote about it, I kind of understood. Yes. I know that there was like, you chose violence or someone chose violence. I kind of understood you being pissed off that someone was in your closet and what else is going on, which is always the thing about reality TV. You come into a scene, you haven't slept, you're upset, something else happened. All they're doing is crystallizing this scene as if, oh, you're at a lunch. Why would you act that way at a lunch? But a lot of other things are going on. Yes. So that scene was very like pivotal on the show. It was like a big thing.
I don't know why it was such a big thing. This is what let me tell you about that day. So the day before, my husband was admitted to the hospital with cancer. I said to the producers, I don't think I should, shoot this scene. We were doing what we call a bi-wig party, meaning everybody must take out their wigs and their extensions and come with your own natural hair. So that was the party I was throwing. Oh, I remember. House.
Yep.
And my husband just got admitted to the hospital. We were really down about Greg going to the hospital. He had cancer. They just told us that he has cancer. He'd been going back and forth. He had been going back and forth, and we didn't know what he had, right? So they admitted him. I told production, I don't think I should have this party. Well, they were gun-ho to having the party because it was an all-cast scene, and they'd already planned for all the girls to be at my house for this particular scene, right? And so I was like, I don't think this is a good thing. They said, do it. I called Greg. I wanted to know how he felt. Can I go ahead and do this thing? Because they're really pushing me to do it. He said, fine, do it. I said, we all have a producer that's assigned to us, right? And I say to my producer, listen, you guys can film. I just don't want anybody to go into my closet, right? They promised me no one would go into my closet. And I'm telling you,
because you said it. Because you said, don't touch, like to a little kid, don't touch that cookie.
They told those girls to do it. And they were telling them to do it at a time when they also knew that I was at my lowest at that point. They knew that Greg was in the hospital with cancer. And they knew that, honestly, we probably shouldn't have done that all-cast scene at my house. My husband is in the hospital with freaking cancer dying. Like, why are we still doing this scene? Who doesn't care about how I'm feeling right now? The craziest thing is after that whole scene happened, I get a call. Do you think you want to take a couple of days off? No, bitch, I should have took a couple of days off before the scene.
Now I got to clean up a mess I just made.
Yeah, but it wasn't as bad as it looked. I think they tried to make it look bad, but it wasn't that bad. So the guy who had the camera is a big-ass guy, right? And I grabbed his T-shirt. But the way they put it out to the world made it look as if I did something to him, like if I beat him or hit him. I never hit anybody ever since I've been on the show as a housewife from day one to this day. I never hit anyone. It was all of these reports about she hit the camera guy, and then there were reports about she fought Kim. Okay, where? Roll the footage, please. They don't have it.
It was in that van that they were saying it, right? It was like you were in some van going somewhere. I remember, but I can't. Yeah, the only physical thing I can ever remember was the weave pull on the street.
And that wasn't me.
No, I know.
I always got
Sheree
in trouble
Kim,
for
right?
that. It was Sheree and Kim, but people always said it was me.
Really?
People would always say, you pulled Kim's wig, you did. I said, I never had a physical altercation on the show. Now, the other thing is, I felt like it was so blown out of proportion with the camera guy when there were so many. This is where I think that we get different treatment and there's just a difference in how we're treated because there's so many girls that are doing things. You had Teresa flipping a table. You had Teresa pushing Andy down. You had girls busting glasses. You got people doing all kinds of stuff. But me grabbing the camera guy's shirt.
Interesting. I didn't think of it that way.
They act as if it was so freaking major. Do you know this guy never said one thing to camera guy?
To this day.
To this day.
Like he wasn't that big of a deal to him.
No.
And he would have sued, by the way. If it was
he didn't even care. He was over there laughing. He didn't care about it. Everybody was talking about it like I had really done something. And I was like, this is crazy. They elevate. I personally think when the brown girls do something, it is much more elevated than when you nice vanilla looking girls are doing something, you know?
Right.
I don't feel like it's the same. To me, those girls are over there pulling each other's wigs off, bursting glasses, pushing each other. We don't push each other. I certainly
You're
don't
saying
want to
it's
push
heightened
me.
and
It is.
So when you read all of that, which you've read a million things, but when you're reading all that, how do you receive it? How are you in dealing with the bad press? And like when you're going, do you take? I feel like you take the bait. I feel like you comment a lot, and I feel like you talk. A lot of times I hear you like talking about like some other girl that was on the show with you, and I'm like, why is she talking about that person? Just giving that person air. Why even bother like responding to every? It's like you're trying to kill every bug in Manhattan sometimes.
I think in the beginning, you kind of respond because you don't know what else to do. And then as time goes on and seasons roll by, your skin gets thicker and thicker.
Right.
And you learn to, girl, I'm not responding to that. I'm only helping you. Oh, I wish I would respond to that. Or I might respond to this. I think you get more strategic on when to respond and when not to respond. And besides, my skin is very thick. So, you know.
No, but like if you were on Carlos King and I forgot who it was, but he's asking you about specific people and you're talking about those specific people and you know they're going to come back and you're going to live 3 more weeks of press when they say the thing back to you. And you just, sometimes I think you like it or sometimes just like, fuck it, I'm going to slap somebody.
That's me keeping it 100.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That was keeping it 100. Yeah, that's how he asked a question, you're answering it.
I'm just answering
That's what I think too. Yeah, I get it.
But I don't think that people want to see NeNe Leakes in an interview not being honest. Being
no, but you can answer it without fully going all the way in, and you go.
Yeah,
like you're like, I think she's boring. Like you'll say that.
Well, back then, now I don't.
Got it.
Now I think I say she's lukewarm or something else instead of like she's boring.
Right?
Yeah, because it's crazy. I feel like they hear me, and sometimes I don't know. They hear me. Yeah, they hear me.
Wait, what do you mean?
Whenever I say something, I feel like I'm so heard. But in certain situations, yeah. Like if I'm talking about the girls, then I'm so heard. Like.
No, I don't understand what you're saying.
Like if I said.
Like you want to send the message to them. You're saying.
No. If I say somebody is boring, I feel like everybody here that I just said that.
Of course. But that's what the point of the interview is. But I can say certain things that are more important and they don't hear it. Of course, because that's what they're looking for. It's like you're looking for a horoscope that applies to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you say, and I get it because you say something and you're giving it oxygen and then they're going to say it back and then you're back on the Housewives without being paid to be back on the Housewives. Yes. So I think about that with you. Yeah. But I also recognize once in a while you want to slap somebody. Like I once in a while you want to,
I'm really okay with all the girls.
So you have a good relationship with the girls?
I wouldn't say good relationship. I don't have any.
It's clean.
Yeah, I don't have any beef.
Isn't it funny? No, I watch.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like they still have beef with me. It's weird.
Yes, but I think that with Housewives, it's like a silent tennis match. You watch them hit a ball through the press and say something bad about you. But the next time, if you say something nice about them, you watch them hit back a softer ball. Like you watch the ball moving around cross franchises. I see a housewife from Orange County saying something about me. Someone you watch everybody subtly fucking each other in the whole franchise. I mean, let's be honest. It's a constant fucking. It's the most competitive space you can imagine.
It is.
I mean, is there any city that's not completely cutthroat and completely competitive and completely jealous? Any of them?
No.
Right. Like
it's designed that way, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the money, the glam, who gets invited on the trips, who's in the center holding the piece of fruit, whatever it is. So there's no, let's just not, let's call it what it is. It's a very, very, it's the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
So
it's very designed.
It's very designed and every woman is in there to end and they're fighting for one person. They can pretend they're fighting for other people, but they're fighting for one. Yeah. Everybody gives Kyle the queen title. They're doing that because they're kissing the ring and they don't want to be hated. And the next season it flips upside down.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
That's true. That is very Atlanta.
That's, right? It's just like give and take, and she's my best friend, and then I hate her. I mean, it's just what that is, and that's not real. In real life, you can have good relationships with women in real life. You can. And, okay, so now there's all this. So first of all, you're acting, you're on Glee, you're like a real actress, and this is happening off season when you're off the Housewives? Like you're still doing Housewives, but you're also a real actress?
I was on Glee, New Normal, Broadway, Cinderella, Chicago.
Like you have a real career, a real acting career.
I had a residency in Vegas, Zumanity,
And were you making good money acting? Like you felt like it was a real career?
Yeah. I felt like it was okay money. I don't feel like it was.
But was it, in your mind, were you like planning to sort of exit Housewives and be an actress? Like that was going to be your full career, like you walked in?
I was hoping that's what I was going to do, but it didn't work out like that.
But you were on a path to that, right?
I thought I was.
Okay. Didn't you get your own show? Someone working with you said you had your own show. Weren't you given a show? Or you were on a series?
I had my own show as far as my wedding, like weddings.
No, but you were on Glee, and were you not on another series? Oh, was that New
Normal?
Oh, New Normal was like a real good part also.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I remember. You were on New Normal. Okay. And you leave the Housewives, but you were first a friend. So how it was told to me was that...
A friend of what?
Like a friend of the show. You were going to be on 7 to 10 appear. I was told.
I was always a housewife.
Okay. I was told the reason you left was because you were negotiating. They were only going to give you a certain number, but it was for a big number of money, like what I was getting paid when I came back, like a big per episode, and you didn't want that, so you walked.
You mean in the end?
Towards the end. That's what I was told. Something to that effect. Does that make any sense?
In the end.
Yeah, in the end, when you were leaving.
That I was going to be given a big sum of money?
No. In the end, when you were leaving... They were willing to, you were battling about money, and then they agreed that they would give you a certain like finite number of episodes. I forget if it was 7 to 10, 6. A finite number, but for a good paycheck each one. So it was still going to be a lot of money. And you said, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
No. I was given less and less and less episodes every season. And when I decided to leave, I think it was down to 6 episodes.
You were given 6 guaranteed episodes.
Yes.
And you decided to leave. And why do you think you were given less episodes? And what was your thought in deciding to leave? Like, what was that whole chapter about? Because I was just watching it from the outside.
My thoughts in leaving were, okay, it felt like I was being phased out. I didn't understand why I was given less and less episodes. And I was asking, why am I given less and less and less every season? And everyone else is getting more. And I was constantly being told by the executives in the offices that I was unhappy. And I don't know how you tell a person they're unhappy.
Like you were reading unhappy on the show, I guess they were saying.
I guess.
Was the audience turning on you?
I don't feel like the audience was. I feel like the audience have always loved to hate me. I think they've always had
love to love you.
Yeah,
and
love
to love you.
A love and a hate relationship with me. Both. We love her, we hate her, we love her, we hate her, we love her, kind of like that.
So you felt like you were getting demoted and iced out of something that you started?
Of course. And again, I go back to why. And I'm the only original housewife on the show. And all the other original housewives on their shows are white women. And they're all given full episodes. And I'm the only black original on my show. And I was given less. I'm given 6. They're all given 18. Why? And the only answer you can give me is you to tell me that I am unhappy. How do you know I'm unhappy? Are you inside of my body?
Well, how can you negotiate with them when they're demoting you and you're trying to get a certain amount of money, but they have all the leverage? Like, what was that whole experience like? Like, what's going on?
The experience of when I got the call to say,
what season was that?
Like 3 seasons ago.
Like 13 or something, somewhere.
Yeah,
I forget
like
what it
13,
was.
I think.
I don't remember.
12.
Okay. So
12.
whatever.
I feel like this was a very important time in Black lives. It was Black Lives Matter movement. I'm an original housewife. I should be there. This is an important time. And I was basically told, flat out told, we need you to sit out this season, is what I was told.
But that's like what they did with Dorinda with a pause. She was drinking a lot the season before. She seemed, I guess, very angry, and she was unhinged. And so they like give her a pause. There are these arbitrary decisions that are like, you're now a friend, you're off, then you come back in. Like, it's very, it's the realm, the head of the realm, Oz, and I guess Oz is Andy and Bravo, are moving all the pieces around in the franchise and deciding that Ramon is now a friend. Luann's a friend, but you get to come back in. Phaedra, you did something terrible and said that Candy was drugged.
Well, what did I do terrible? I need to see what that was.
Phaedra?
No, me.
Oh, no. I'm saying, but that's how I'm seeing that. Like, they're moving all these pieces on the chessboard. So now you're a chess piece and you're being moved out. It's your turn to sit out this round. So you said, no, I'm not coming back at all. I'm done. I'm out.
The final decision came. I said I was going to take the 6 episodes, is what I said.
You did.
In the end, I said, I'm going to go ahead and take it, right?
Was that because of finances? What was that reason?
Not for finances, I don't think. At that time, no. It was because my team was saying do it. My husband was saying, you're great. When you get on the show, your 6th episode will probably turn into 10 or 15 because, you're great. You're going to be great. You're going to be fine.
But that must feel very sad for you. Like, started it and you're like NeNe Leakes and you're very popular and everyone loves you, and now you're being demoted and like you're in the corner.
I think I didn't understand why it was happening. And in the end, the reason I made the decision that I'm not going to be able to take these 6 episodes, it was during the Black Lives Matter movement. I got on the phone with the executives and they wanted me to come for Candy, is what they said. They wanted we want you to get Candy.
And what does that mean?
Get her. I mean,
but what was their reasoning and what did they have on her?
I don't know.
She's the idolized.
I think we had maybe some issues, maybe the season prior to, and they wanted me to make sure that I confront her and I address her and all that stuff. And I said, no, I really don't want to do that. This is Black Lives Matter, and I don't want to do that. And I didn't do it. I felt like it was Black Lives Matter. I should have been there. They were trying to push me out at a time that was very important in the Black culture. And also they wanted me to appear. If I appeared that season, they needed me to argue with Candy. And that was not something I wanted to do.
So you made the decision to leave the show. And how long after that did you... I don't know the story. I guess you sued them. You sent them papers. What happened after that? What were you doing? Were you still acting? Like, what was that moment? You're off the show. What are you doing now?
There was a lot going on.
It was during the pandemic, right?
During the pandemic. Okay. There was a lot going on. I was trying to have conversations like with the executives, or I wanted to talk through like, why was this happening? Why did all these things happen to me? There were a lot of things happening that you just don't know about. But
like racism you're talking about? Because
there was a lot of things happening to me. Unfair treatment. Well, no, I just mean that it was a lot of unfair treatment happening to me.
At that time, or during your whole history that you were reflecting
during
on?
A period of years, things were happening. For instance, okay, let me give you an example. We are a cast of Black women and we have a white woman on our show. She doesn't travel, we travel. She doesn't shoot, we shoot. So there was a lot of different treatment happening on the show. And I was more of the outspoken one, the one that was in the front. Like, me and the girls would talk about it and then we would say, it's unfair that Kim doesn't have to take any cast trips. Like, none of us want to take cast trips, right? And because
she wasn't taking cast trips?
No. The only trip Kim took that I can remember is to Miami. Our cast went to Miami and she went on that trip. In fact, when Kim walks off of the show, we're all sitting there talking to her about, why didn't you gave us these dates to go on these cast trips and you said you would be available and you're not available. Kim did not go on cast trips, only the Black girls. I felt that over the years that I was treated differently than
someone white.
That's right.
Right. Okay. And what did they say to that? Like, what was the response?
I don't know their response because I've worked with this company for a very long time. I had issues. You would think that someone there would have said, let's pick up the phone and talk to her and see what's happening. They never picked up the phone.
Oh, let's discuss the matter.
No one ever wanted to speak to me.
To this day, you haven't spoken to anyone about. You haven't spoken to Andy or anyone about. So, when's the last time you spoke to Andy or someone from Bravo? This feels like this was in the last 3 years. You're saying this whole thing?
Yeah,
because it feels like an explosion.
I spoke to Andy probably was 3 years.
So 3 years ago, you leave the show. You file an action that's still going on. It's a case, or what is it called?
It's a complaint.
You have a complaint, and it's still going on. And I've heard that it's back and forth, and it feels like it was abrupt. Like you leave, and then when does this all come? And then they would say, or someone would say, why didn't you file it earlier? Like, are you a disgruntled employee? That type of thing. So
no, I'm not a disgruntled employee because I was bringing my complaints all the time. So it wasn't like I just decided, I'm leaving and now I'm going to complain about all these things. Which is why I believe I was given less and less episodes because I made complaints a lot over the years. If there was something that did not look right or sound right to me, I would bring it up. Right. And
so let's just get this clear. So because I want this. So because it was backwards. So basically for years, you're complaining about things that just on the day-to-day don't seem correct.
Right.
And then you start to get demoted.
Yes.
And you feel like it's personal and you feel like it's related.
It's personal. Yeah.
That's different. Okay. So that's what you're, okay.
So I feel like I was on the front line. And when I say I was on the front line.
Well, you also always kept it 100. You were the one opening your mouth.
I was like, I felt like the leader for the girls. So they would all get together. For years, we were all on the same text message. We had a Housewife, Georgia Peach text message.
Without Kim. Black girls.
Without Kim.
Okay.
And everybody would comment in the thing, and I felt like, okay, if this is an issue, I'll be the one to call and tell them. And I would always be the one to call and tell them. And I'm just thinking the girls are going to support me when I make these complaints for them. But there were times when they didn't support me. But you guys know you made the complaints. I mean, like I had your text messages.
Have they validated any of your feelings, your experience, or any of this? Or have they just...
In text messages, yeah.
They have.
Mm-hmm.
They have. Mm-hmm. So I remember, I think you were there. I think that the Housewives franchise went from the old guard to the new guard and changed. For me, it was the Andy Cohen baby shower. And it's going to sound crazy, but I was invited by Kyle. I know Kyle hosted it. Maybe was it you and two other girls did it with her?
Yeah, me and Kyle and
one other girl. I forgot.
It may have been Vicky. I'm not sure.
Something like, okay. So
we all pay like $5,000 or something to make sure that he has a good baby shower.
Exactly. So Kyle invites me, and which is very nice. And I'm in LA and I'm doing an appearance, but I could have made it. And I didn't want to go because my feeling was that it was going to be like a dog and pony show, everybody trying to kiss the ring and trying to Andy's the Don, Andy's the Charlie, and all the angels are going to come in. And what I really did hear from the feedback and what I saw from the media, that it was like the older girls, the originals, were like there and sort of part of it, but they were a little older. They were like seniors. And the new girl, they were like seniors and the new girls were all sort of like in the background wanting to be at the cool table, the cafeteria table. And Beverly Hills wasn't the peach and it wasn't the apple. Beverly Hills was now like the shining diamond. And they were like up on the table, getting all the attention, get up and dance. And like they were the favorites then. And it just felt like everybody was trying to get the most press, the most attention, the most be Andy's favorite. And it kind of represented the whole experience for me, which is like, you're the most popular if you get asked on Watch What Happens Live, or you sit in this seat, or you sit next to Andy, or you sit there. And it feels like the whole chessboard has always been sort of played and operated to make us all think that about each other and wonder. It's like that one event represented the whole thing, because no one needs a baby shower to be people wasted for 5 days, hungover, dancing on table. Like, but do you see where I'm coming from at all?
I do understand what you're saying.
Like some girls feel like they're the losers at the loser table. Yeah. I mean, they want to get his attention and hopefully he'll notice them. I mean, that's what it's like.
Yeah. Very much so.
You know what I mean?
Very much so.
So, were you close with Andy? Do you consider him to be a good friend of yours?
No.
You say that now, or you always knew that?
My good friends, I go to their house or I visit their home at some point. So I never visited his home. So I would have to say no. I don't feel like we were good friends. I feel like we were
colleagues.
Probably a little bit more than that, because I could call him on his cell. I have gone out with him out on the town, and I've gone drinking with him, and I've partied with him. And so, yeah, a little bit more than colleagues.
But the whole way you kind of knew where it stood. You feel like from the beginning, because
No, I did not.
Right.
I did not know where it stood. I did not know where it stood.
Where did you think it stood, and where do you think it stands now?
I thought we had a good relationship. And
why don't you think, like, do you feel like he has the power and he's in control of the things that you were bringing to Bravo, or he's just a pawn in the whole machine? Like, what part does he play? Or you can't play stupid and smart. You can't be the boss and then play dumb. Like, where do you think he fits in the whole thing?
He fits in at the top.
He fits in at the top.
And he is, like you said, maybe like, I don't know. He's at the top, and he is moving everybody around on the board. It's almost like a real game.
It's like a real game.
Yeah.
And because there are always questions, who texts you the most? Who do you text the most? And the thing is, we're all in the game, because I remember one year I was off the Housewives, and then I went to his house for his Christmas party, and it was like all these famous people there, and I felt special. And then, I'm sitting next to him at this reunion, and now I feel special. And it reminds me of, like, probably you with your parents, as your real parents as a kid, and me with mine, like we all want his approval. We all want to be the favorite. We want his approval. We want to be able to say, oh, well, you even have said something. I've been on that show the most about Watch What Happens Live. It's like a calling card. And so
but I understand why I was on there the most now. I mean, at that time, I didn't totally get it 100%, but.
Well, what do you mean? Are you rated? Why do you think you were on the most?
To help the show.
Because you were rating. Yeah,
yes.
you're rating. But why else would you? Yeah, but you're saying it wasn't because you were friends. It's because you're a piece on the board, and you're a valuable piece.
Very valuable.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And so I think there's a psychology that goes on with this group and this show. And he's an he used to be an executive, and he's a producer, which is like a power position. But then you're this sort of talent.
He's not
and
an executive anymore.
He's not an executive for you. He used to be an executive at Bravo, a development executive, and then like a VP. And then because he was on the show with his own show, he became talent, but still is an executive producer of different shows. But that's still in like a supervising position. And so it's tricky because he's not, quote unquote, technically producing Vanderpump Rules. So he can't be held accountable to the standard of producing that reunion, but he's the person who's the talent saying all these things to Raquel, but like under the shield of like, it's the show. Like he's almost like a puppet, like just reading these words when he's a human being. He knows what he's saying. But then over here, he's a producer that gets to choose who's on and who's off. And it gets to be, you can't play stupid and smart. Like you're in a power position, and you have a lot of power there because you report directly to Francis, who makes all the decisions. So you can't write, and people will wonder why people like you and I would fuck this thing up, would bite the hand that feeds us, would mess up the apple and peach cart. Like even me more than you, I wasn't getting demoted. I could have gone back any time for millions of dollars. And I, I fucking fucked up the whole cart when you thought I was the favorite. I thought you were the favorite. Let's talk about that. We talked about this. I thought you said that you thought I was his favorite.
Yes. I did think that you were his favorite at some point. I don't know when that point actually became. I thought you were his favorite, but at times it didn't feel like it. I'm sorry, but then it looked like it, but then sometimes it didn't feel like it.
You meaning the public is thinking that I'm his favorite, but the way he's speaking privately is not. Likewise, that's what I'm saying, likewise. And I know I've known how he feels about different people at different times. And I don't know. Again, it's back to the reality reckoning, which we're now going to get into. For me, and of course, I bit the hand that fed me, and now it's so convenient that I'm talking about this and all that. But I left. I left twice. There's no confusion. All the receipts. I left twice at top dollar, and I didn't bring this whole thing up because I wanted to do a show. I walked away from my show, and I have the receipts for that too. I walked away from the show that I was going to do because I didn't want to get into business with that production company, and I didn't want to go into this sphere, and I didn't want it to be like Housewives. And there was no big plan for the reality reckoning. I was just thinking about the reunion and the strike, and I thought, what the hell? And one day I woke up and said to myself, I go to Australia, and no one told me that there's my entire body, just me, on the back of a bus. And I'm excited by that, but I shouldn't be excited by that because they're promoting a show on Hey You Australia that's got episodes of me from 15 years ago that I made $7,250 for a whole season. So in real time, I just said something, and it exploded, and it got a lot of pickup. And then I started to think about all of it. And the truth is, I never burned the house down because I thought maybe I'd go back into the house. Like, and I don't mean burn the house down by a reckoning because I didn't even think of it. I mean, I think this whole time I thought that Andy and I were kind of really friends because we text back and forth, but we don't really. I've been to his house once for a Christmas party 10 years ago. We're not really. Every time we're together, we're only talking about the Housewives. Am I coming on? Am I going off? Is that person getting fired? Is that person coming on? Like, we're not really. You know what your real friends are like. So now I'm in this hybrid world where I think we kind of really don't like each other, but we're both playing this game. And yet when things are happening for me, he's not really congratulating me. And like, I feel like he has some sort of resentment, because I'm supposed to be beneath him because we both came up at the same time. He was barely a host, and he was working at Bravo, and we came up at the same time. So I'm thinking, I don't think he likes me at all. I think we've both been playing this game for all this time. And one day I decided to just not be afraid and open my fucking mouth because the only person I was protecting in that whole realm was him. And he hasn't been protecting me.
Hello. 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 Is me you're looking for? Yes, girl. Hello. That's like you've been asleep this whole time. Hello. Hello.
Did I just like crack open like a fucking piñata?
No. I feel like
no,
you didn't go 100. You was about 80
just now.
And I think that you're right.
Well, no, I think
that everybody that's in this position, I think at one point you feel or you think like, am I his favorite? Am I not? I kind of feel the same way you do. I don't think he ever liked me.
Like down deep inside, you were playing the game. You were both two people it's a dance. Like I got invited on, hey, yay. And it's so funny. And every time you're there, it's like, oh my God, I saw what you just did. And Bryn's here. And everyone's excited. But the last time I went on that show, I was with my daughter, and we're so used to that environment being, he's always protected. Somehow he's asking these questions like, who's the ugliest housewife? And you're like,
God.
let me think. Like a question that bad. Like, who's the worst mother? Like questions that are so problematic. Asking Jill Zarin's mother, asking her, is this good for the Jews or bad for the Jews? And then mentioning Ron Jeremy, like to 70, like all these things that somehow he's like always protected, and we're always fucking skinned alive with Tabasco sauce all over us, naked. Because I say the thing about the other, who do you think is the bitchiest housewife or most dramatic? NeNe. 2 weeks of press. Bethany says NeNe's the most dramatic. You 2 weeks of press say Bethany's a bitch. Like we're out there and we get thrown like pieces of meat to just get ripped apart by that vehicle that we kiss the ass to get on and get excited that we're on and we're there and we're like, oh my God, yay. And we all play the goddamn fucking game and we get decked out because we're using him like he's using us because we want to promote our shit and get dressed out and get the whatever. But it all just seems so gross. And we're all such pawns because of the fame and the money. And when I had enough money and enough fame and nobody had anything that I wanted, and I knew by the last shred, I let it all hang out because it was like, I'm not fucking going back. And I'm not doing this other show. I've been afraid. I've been hanging on. I've been there. And like, I'm not doing it.
Well, see, first of all, you're in a position where you can feel that way and say all those things. That's one thing. Financially and skin color. There are things that you can say that I can't say. There are things that you can actually do on this show that I can't do on this show. And that's just a fact. As you just said, Candy told you that, everything that we do is sort of like elevated. And it's the truth. Everything we do is much more elevated. You can say all those things of whatever you want to say to me, and I can't say the same. My treatment is 100% different on the show than yours.
Do you mean not on the Housewives?
On the Housewives.
Got it. But
it's
now,
100%
but now in a
different.
post-Housewives world, you chose to leave, and you know that all these other housewives have gotten asked back. They've come back. They've come in. They've come out. You chose to leave.
I chose to leave for a lot of reasons.
Okay, because I want to hear that because you chose to leave, and then you chose to burn the house down, and I'll explain when I called to try to work with you.
I don't think I burned the house down. Did I burn it down?
Well, we'll talk about. You burnt the bridge attached to the house. Yeah, from between you and the house, there was a bridge, because you took legal action.
Okay, so
for when I read in the headlines, I don't think anyone knows your story. I would like to hear.
Well, first I want to say this. I just wanted to get your language so I can understand what you're saying. When you say you burned the house, that means you burned the bridge that you say you burned. So when I think that you're burning the bridge,
while you were there.
When I think that someone is burning a bridge, you're burning the bridge because this person's done nice things for you and to you, and then you just decide to burn the. That's how I see burning the bridge.
That would be like not taking the olive branch. I'm saying whatever literal bridge is a bridge between them and you, and even if you don't like them, even if you were discriminated against, you might want to walk back on that fucking bridge and go back in just like me.
You might want to, but you also might not want to be continuously abused. I didn't just wake up one day and just say, I'm going to file a complaint. I felt like I worked there long enough, and just as I respect them, I thought they respect me, and they would have wanted to come to a table and sit and talk with me about the issues that I was having.
Who did you want to talk to?
When I say they, I mean the executives who are in control on both sides, on the network side and the production side.
Okay.
So there were issues. I never was the talent that just decided, oh, this is my last season, I have all these issues. No, I had my issues and wrote emails and text message, and I have receipts. I am Black. We keep receipts. That's all we can do.
Interesting.
Okay. So I have my receipts of my complaints and the things I felt that should change. I asked, why is this happening to me? I would like for this to change. Can this not happen to me any longer? Can I do this? I asked all those questions. Okay. And again, I always felt like if I did one little thing, it was elevated. Yet all the White Housewives, white girls can do anything. And it was never, you guys never got the same treatment. You just don't get the same treatment. Now, you guys might complain. You might walk off the show. If I walk off the show, it's the whole world has blown up. She walked off the show. When you got white girls walking off the show, running off the show, crying, flipping tables, pulling hair, blessing glasses, cursing people out, all kind of stuff. And if I just do one little thing, my treatment is totally different.
Interesting. And you mean from the show or the court of public opinion? Because they can't control it.
From the show and the court of opinion.
Like they're not protecting you. Something happens and the press is coming.
They protect you, but they don't protect me.
So we're in this gray area where it's not an actual workplace. And the reason that you don't get real answers is because if you were working in a normal company and Jane down the hall drank 8 bottles of vodka, the HR would be called. And if you were in a normal workplace and someone treated you a certain way and you filed a complaint, HR would be called. But there is no real HR because it's not really a workplace. But we have to show up on time and we have to work. Yeah. So we're in this purgatory gray area where nothing's real. And now that's what the reckoning is really about, because people have to be accountable.
And it's much needed.
Right. So, okay, so you leave, you file the complaint, and that's where I want to come into. I don't know exactly what it said. What is it that you wanted?
There's a lot of things that I won't say all here.
Okay. Or what you want, because you're still in it. You're still in it.
I want fair treatment. I want to be treated equal.
But how can you be treated equal now when you're not working with them? Like, what would you do? What do you want? What could be done now?
I'm not working with them now, no, because I wasn't getting fair treatment.
You want amends for not getting fair treatment.
And I was not treated equal.
Okay. And how do you feel about the way it's going to go down? Do you think you're going to get what you want?
I don't know.
Do you feel stronger in this reckoning coming and the things that
you
are...
would get what you want.
I don't want anything.
But if it were you,
Oh.
you would get what you want.
Oh, okay.
You probably would not have even had to file a complaint.
Interesting.
They probably would have come and sat and talked with you. If you were just asking to talk and let's figure this out, let's work this out, they probably would have sat and talked with you.
Do you feel stronger since the media has shifted recently and since there's a wave and since this reality reckoning? Do you feel a little bit less alone?
I still feel very alone, I must say.
So you've said to me, so now let's enter into, now keep in mind, I'm only reading headlines. I'm seeing clips. I don't know what's gone on from my perspective. And also I was still friends with the network. And my perspective is NeNe's suing Bravo and the production company for discrimination and other things. And that's kind of what I heard. Like there was that you were suing and you were public about it. And it was a big, big thing. Okay. So we don't speak that often. I'm watching you on the media. I have no idea how long later I reach out to you. But in my own life, I am thinking, I've always thought that you're very entertaining. And I think you and I would be amazing together. So I have this idea. And Paul and I are always talking about ideas. It was Paul's idea to have Jill on. He said, you should have Jill to talk about the new Housewives. And I said, oh God, I just want to have a reunion with her. And then that's how that happened. And so we were just talking. And I was like, he always was like, you want to do something with NeNe? And I said, I think NeNe and I should do a show called Ebony and Ivory, where we get in an RV and go across the country from each of our perspectives. I call 2 production companies that had relationships with Bravo, because again, I don't know that much about your case. I call them because they've been wanting to do a bunch of projects with me, and I never want to do anything. But I've reached out to you a million times, and they say we can't. And I even have one of them call you. Remember, I say, can you call her? I was like, they're like, we can't touch it. We can't touch it. We can't touch it. She's suing. I call an agency. We can't touch it. And I call you. And because you said to me on the phone, every time you call me, nothing ever happens. And I didn't want to hurt your feelings. But I said, the reason is when I call you, it's because someone else told me that it couldn't happen. Like I call you getting excited. You say I'm excited too. I then talk to someone else and they shut it down because of the legal action. That was my perspective. I don't know if it's true, not true. And I just reported it back to you.
So since all of this has come forward with complaints and things like that, I have been severely retaliated against. And have you been retaliated against since you came out with your reality reckoning?
I mean, I believe so. I believe I've burned many bridges. Yeah, I do not believe I would be doing anything with Bravo. And I haven't been.
Well, that's fine. If you don't, you're not doing anything with Bravo, I get it. But I don't feel like I should be retaliated against to the point of me not being able to work at all.
Well, no, also, I'm just in the beginning. Just know that 2 different people in production, as I told you, said to me, I can't work for you. I will never work in TV again if I work for you. And 3 Bravo talent that have been violated and have a story to tell have reached out to me wanting to talk, and they've been blocked. So I'm okay. I have, but I'm saying there's an effect to my actions.
Well, for me, I've not been able to work at all.
But so in any arena of entertainment?
In any arena of entertainment, I was not able to work from that point of me closing my computer, leaving the reunion. I did not work again until last year. I got one job last year. But
what if it's that you were litigious because people don't want, if someone sued somebody personally, they don't want to touch that. How could, Bravo's not going to call ABC and say, don't work with NeNe.
They obviously called ABC and EFG.
But ABC doesn't listen to Bravo, who's answered to NBC. They're all different.
They have. And because listen, I'm a talent and I am talented.
I agree.
I am not just a reality star. I am an entertainer. Okay. I sing, dance, act, and do reality. Okay. As a Black woman, I have to be able to do everything. At the end of the day, I turn cartwheels and do flips. Like I do everything. There's nothing that I can't do.
And what do you mean you haven't worked at all?
I'm trying to tell you that they shut my work down. I do everything. So you mean to tell me as a talented person that there was nothing for me to host? There was nothing for me to act in, sing in, dance in, jump in, clap in, nothing.
What do your agents say?
The same thing.
What do your agents say?
The same thing I'm saying to you. The doors were closed. The doors were not open. And in fact, a friend of mine told me Andy wrote a book and he said the door was closed. So apparently when he says the door is closed all over the entire industry because I did not work. Now, that's a fact. Now, we're talking about somebody that is talented and do not work.
I'm asking like,
I'm not holding it on anybody, but I'm telling you that when it happened,
what you've been through. You're just explaining
I have been retaliated against. Now, you just don't go from working today and never working again. Like something happens. Something
I agree.
happens.
I agree.
Like you can't just be like, okay, so
yeah, but your agents are the most powerful people in the entertainment industry. What have they said? What does CAA say to you when you say, "Why am I not working?" Give me the fucking truth. What do they say?
Nothing. Listen, I'm not crazy, and neither are you.
No. I'm with you. I'm
trying to tell you that if you were working today and suddenly all the doors just closed all across the entire industry because you had a disagreement with maybe this company that you're working for.
Yeah.
But maybe you don't have to work with that company anymore. There's so many other companies out here to work for. There were all kind of narratives put out there, like I was a difficult talent and all these things. I've never ever worked on a set where I've been difficult. Ever.
Wait, have you seen that you were difficult? You've seen that go?
I've heard it. Now there's a lot of sets that I've worked on.
And you're talking about scripted or unscripted or both?
Both.
Okay.
Any set I work on, I come happy and I don't need anything but my money and some water every now and then. But let me tell you something. I don't need anything. I come happy and I'm ready to work. I'm a worker bee. I like to work.
I know you do.
Yeah, I'm enjoying working. So I've never had an issue on any set I've ever worked on. So it is not by chance that I have a disagreement with this company and every door across the industry decides to close. It is something wrong with that. But you, Bethany, or some of the other girls, they can have an issue with this company and they may not work with them for a little while, but they always get to come back and work.
Well, my work is all self-generated. This is my podcast.
You're different.
I'm not being hired by somebody else.
You're different at this point.
Yeah.
But there's so many examples. Let me just say, let me just use my closing the computer as an example. So I closed the computer as an example because we were doing our reunion show.
What does that mean, I closed the computer?
We were doing our reunion show from home because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
So we were all on computer at the time. I think we were the only franchise that did that. And I closed my computer as in I walked off of the reunion.
How long ago?
2019.
4 years ago.
Okay. So I closed my reunion and I walk off of I closed my computer and I walk off of the show. The treatment is just different. Lisa Vanderpump, on her show, she walked off. She didn't even walk off. I don't think she ever came. She never came to the reunion. And they are still working with her today. Kim Zolciak walks off of our entire show and walked right into her own reality show. I didn't get that same treatment. I was always retaliated against or something happened.
You feel like you're being punished.
Of course, severely punished. What's happening to me right now with these doors closing everywhere, you would think that I have drugged, raped, stabbed, cut somebody. I'm getting the treatment like I was freaking R. Kelly or Bill Cosby.
You feel like you've been canceled.
Yes. There was canceled. A point. As of late, I have been getting little opportunities here and there.
What have you been doing?
I did an endorsement deal recently. Last season, I did a reality show. So I've gotten little small things to come in, but this just doesn't happen. It's almost like they're trying to send the message. If you are being abused, you better not fucking speak up. So it's almost like this is why the union is much needed. What you're fighting for. It's much needed. Because if I'm being abused, I don't have the right to say something. I can't come to you and tell you that something's happening to me. And if I do tell you something's happening to me, do that mean I don't ever get to work again? Why? I'm a woman. You're a woman. I'm a black woman, but we feel the same. we bleed the same. I have feelings. I'm not feelingless. I mean, I have feelings. I still have a family. You have a family. You're able to feed your family and provide for them. Why can't I feed and provide for mine? Because me and this company disagree. I don't know what the hell we're disagreeing on, but whatever our disagreements are, why can't I just go on and work somewhere else? Why do you need to put out a narrative like that to make my life miserable? Why can't I feed my kids? Why are all the white women able to do whatever they do? I'll give you an example. I just thought of something. I remember Vicki Gunvalin saying that she had an issue. I can't remember everything now. I remember there was something, I think somebody pretended like they had cancer. Maybe the girls were after them about
Fake
that.
Cancer.
And then she ended up being like off the show. And then I think she had she was supposed to be on the first season of the new show that they do called Girls Trip.
Right.
And she was mad with Andy and Bravo about the contract they gave her. Something happened with their falling out. Because she had fallen out with them. And she spoke to an attorney, and I know that for a fact because I was on the call when she spoke to the attorney about them, thinking that she wanted to file a lawsuit against them. I don't know what happened. She went through this whole process with the attorney. I don't know how far they gotten. I know that he probably had some calls with Bravo or whatever. Vicki is back on the show working. My situation is not the same. I can talk to an attorney or have an issue, which I did. My attorneys were talking to them in the beginning, wanting to sit down and let's figure something out. Let's work this out, whatever this issue is. And they never wanted to sit down and talk to me about anything. My feelings were they pretty much said, F that black bitch, period. Because they completely. But all these other people like Vicki, who's talking to an attorney, that the world didn't know this, but we know this. Behind the scenes, she was speaking to an attorney and was upset with them about this cancer thing and some contract for the girls' trip. But Vicki is back over there working and everything is fine. Lisa Vanderpump walk off the show, never return. She still got Vanderpump and she can still sit over there and talk to him all day long if she want to. Teresa can go to prison and stay for 10 years and they'll wait till she get back and then the show will start again. Okay, but the black girls do not get that same treatment. I'm telling you right now, our treatment is different. Okay, you guys go on fabulous trips. We ride on a Sprinter bus. That's just how it is. Our treatment is different. You were the highest paid, weren't you? Didn't you say you made more money than anybody?
I think so.
What is that? What does that mean? What kind of number was it? Tell me later.
I'll tell you. It was a big number. It was a big number. Well, it was several $1 million for 4 months' work.
You think so?
I don't think that's a big number.
Okay, no.
I think you
said several months of work.
No, for the shooting season.
Oh, for the shooting season.
Yeah, but I think, but you guys, I think you were what your per episode was. You were coming back. I think it was close. It wasn't the same. I think. I have an idea.
No,
but
I didn't get several millions of dollars for one.
Well, no,
season.
not for six episodes. You wouldn't.
Not even for a full season.
Not more than $1 million for a full season.
Oh, no, I got way more than $1 million for a full season.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you said several.
Well, more than one.
Well, I got more than one.
Right. Okay. So I'm saying I think we were in a similar position. I think we were in a similar position. I do. I think we're in a similar position. I think, but also it's different. That's different. I left for years and they wanted me back. And that's another problem with the whole thing is that the numbers are all over the place and everybody's contracts are different. And it's
I really don't care what anybody's making. I really don't care what you make and what the next person make as long as I'm happy with what I'm making.
No, exactly.
That's how I feel.
No, well, that's fine. But what do you regret? What would you do differently now? So you leave the show, you get the 6 episodes, reverse and tell me what you would do differently.
About what?
Now that you're not working, would you not have done it? Would you have been part of the problem?
No, I don't feel that way. I feel like, listen, I mean, again, I'm a human. I have feelings. I mean, I can't, how long do you treat a person fucked up before
So you're standing by that you may, even though how hard this has been?
I mean, I have to.
Good. Okay.
What else can I do? At this point.
I'm saying many people would say I would have gone back. I would have worked for 4 years. I mean, how is it affected?
I don't know that I can say that. I know that I don't deserve to be in this position that I'm in. I know.
Right, but I think it's very admirable that you're standing in it, even knowing that you have a different situation.
I don't feel like I have another choice. I mean, because I don't think that they didn't give me any choices. They've never wanted to sit down and talk to me. No one at that company has ever called me and said, "What is happening here?
Maybe they'll call you now.
What's going on? Why can't we talk?
Maybe they'll call you
this?
now.
Why can't we?
Bravo.
Well, I've asked them myself.
You never know. This is going to be a very. I feel that this is going to be an impactful interview, and let's see. Last week they sent a letter out saying they were going to try to change practices. Bravo. Maybe you'll call NeNe and at least mend offense.
I mean, listen.
Everybody can change. I think
everybody can change. I want you to know that, first of all, that you're doing a great thing. And so we said that we were going to talk about the black and white treatment. It's the reason why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
What you're doing is great. At the end of the day, as long as a voice is heard, that is all that matters. And that we get what we're trying to get out of the situation. Okay? So if it takes you to go and do it, you go and do it. I'm right here for you. I'm behind you. I'm supporting you. I couldn't do it, but you can do it. And even though maybe my voice wasn't heard by them, but trust me, my voice was heard by many people. Many people heard my voice.
Yes, but I don't think that they heard the message.
Cared.
I don't think the problem is doing all these short shows and interviews. You say one quick thing, it's a clip. It's not a conversation. It's not like understanding. Like the bottom line, I didn't know. The crystallization for me is that you felt that there was systemic discrimination, and even if it wasn't to the level that you thought it was, you felt you weren't being treated fairly, and you had a complaint with the company that you were working with that you were making a lot of money for. So you felt that there wasn't equal treatment. You felt that you wanted to be talked to and with by the powers that be, and you felt that you were effectively ignored and then subsequently demoted and then kind of pushed out. And you felt also like you started this thing.
Of course I did.
I mean, and now you're an outsider.
Everybody, I mean, listen, you have to be blind to not see that I started it. I mean, we're not crazy. I know everything that I did. It was a lot. And I helped them in many ways. They never respected me. No one to give me one call and say.
You're telling me you never have had a phone call from anyone?
Never. They never called me up and said, let's see what the hell is wrong with NeNe. What the hell is she talking about over there? Let's talk to her.
Not in the executives, not even the highs. Interesting. It would have been so much easier. Life is so much easier when you just have a conversation.
Do you think it would not? It would have been so much easier.
Well, it's funny because no one's called me to say, what the hell are you talking about? Because you know what I would say?
Yeah.
Well, let's go you first. You get a call from Andy and Francis and your executive. What can we do? What would you like? What would you say?
I would be like, wow, you guys decided to call after like 4 years? I mean, yeah. Like, so are we going to do this over the phone, or am I going to come sit in your office and so I can look you dead in your eyes?
So you come in the office and what, how can we work this out? What can we do? What
First of all, the very first thing I want, I probably have a sign on my forehead that says fair treatment. I want fair treatment.
But how can they treat you fairly now when you don't work there? What would you like now?
Oh, well, I don't work there now. I mean,
would you like to work there? Would you like to get a gig on TV with them?
I can't say that I would.
Well, you have to ask for what you want because the universe might bring it. So what is it that you would actually want?
What I want, I wouldn't say it here.
You want some fair compensation for lost wages, I assume.
There's a lot I want.
Okay. There's a lot you want. Okay.
And I think that they can do it. And the first thing is, as I said before, is fair treatment across the board. Okay. And the things that are more important, a union would be great. But I know those are the things that they can't just make happen overnight. But it would be great to have support in trying to get a union for a reality show.
Well, SAG-AFTRA has backed what we're doing and said that they are ready. You can call them. I can give you the top of the to the heap, give you the contact to get what you need. But I would say to Bravo, if they called me, we're going to sit down and negotiate what should be in everyone's contracts moving forward. Here are some terms, here's some boilerplate language that should be in everyone's contracts moving forward. And I did kind of lay out 10 terms as a starting point to say, if a person comes in at this level, this is the minimum wage. And if they go on another season and if the show gets picked up and, you know, but there is a systemic problem. It's great that they said, we're sorry that, you know, we're going to get people a psychologist and that we're going to look at alcohol consumption. But what they need to be saying is the whole industry can't be exploiting our content on streamers that we never even knew would exist. I never knew Hey You was going to come in Amazon and Prime and sell. Yeah. They hack up the chicken 10,000 ways. I'm wings, your broth, we're stuck. I mean, they've got this fucking thing from $7,250 15 years ago, sold everywhere. And when people say you signed up for that, I signed a contract. I thought we were doing this show on this channel. I didn't know I'd be in Australia on different networks. I
totally agree with that. The show is sold everywhere. You see it everywhere. What about the memes?
Well, you talk about the gifts and the memes, about the 250. Tell them that.
Yeah, the gifts and the memes are insane, and we don't make $1 off of it. Well, not even $1, 1 penny. And I'm probably more memed than any housewife ever.
I agree.
My memes are everywhere, and some of the memes I don't like. Nobody gives a...
No, and it kills you. You're watching TikToks of you, and you're not getting paid. I'm watching people with pictures and memes of my mouth opening, closing, eyes opening, closing, head turning around. And it's really fucked up. And you don't get 1 penny. And Bravo's still making money off of that.
A ton of money. And the company that I think created the memes sold for $400 million to, I think, Facebook or somebody. It was this company that makes these memes, and
it's their talent,
and I don't get
it's their
one
product
penny.
That they sold.
But the thing that's worse for me is my face, and Lord, I don't want to keep saying black child, but my face is everywhere in every meme. I don't see your faces like that. It's my face, and they don't give me 1 penny for that.
I know.
In the episodes that I've been in, they have played 1 trillion times everywhere, and I don't get a penny for that.
I agree. I see you on TikTok, everyone using your sounds. I've used them. I did it with my daughter. You're not getting paid for that.
No.
Right, but no one's really acknowledging that it was Bravo's talent, Bravo's product, so they distributed it. They sold it, and so they're still making money off of that. So it's a big issue that will have to get resolved, because you're going to see your content. It could be for 100 years. But that is what we signed, and we didn't know how many ways that they would sell it. It's a new world order. We didn't even know what streaming was. We had no Twitter when we started on the Housewives. No, we did not. There was no Twitter. So what do you think of the state of the show today?
I think it is... Well, at least, first of all, I don't watch the show.
Same.
I watch the clips that come down Instagram.
Same.
You know, those little clips.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Atlanta has changed a lot. Actually, they look like they are suffering. The girls don't look entertaining. They just don't look like housewives. I thought when we were on the show, the women were more like higher. I don't know. Everybody just look.
It's boring.
Not only is it boring, the women, who are they and where did they come from and why are they sitting on this show?
Do you think that medium has died? I mean, is it a soap opera now? Is it Days of Our Lives?
It is.
Where it's not, it's just tired now and it's on the way.
I think so. And I think, like you said, it's like a dinosaur now. You know, it's just...
Tragic?
It's just old.
Do you think that they choose people like you and I who had challenging upbringings and like wounded birds to come in and be in this medium because it creates drama and we're all a little effed up in some way?
No,
so we're going to...
I think they chose us in the beginning for whatever the reason was, but we became so big, we became bigger than the show. And I think that they don't want women on the show who are big. If you notice, to me, all the women who are big and who are popular, they figure out how to get all of them off the show. And they leave the girls who are boring and mediocre because they are not a threat. And they're mediocre. Just put it like that. But all the popular girls or the hot girls or the girls that everybody like, they push them off the show. You're too big and you're overshadowing other people who would like to stand in the front.
So what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do now? What, if you could have any career, any gig, what would be the top 3 things you want to do now? What do you want?
I'm an actress. And although I fell into reality kind of before my acting, in reality, listen, it opened up a lot of doors for me. It was a great launching platform for me. But I'm an actress. So I would like to act. And that's what I do. I act and I talk and I sing and I dance. And so I would like to do those things.
Well, right now that's on strike. So at least you're in the same boat as everybody else in that industry so you can like map and chart your course? And are your agents working for you as an actress? Are they, is that what, are they, do they think you're going to be able to have a career as an actress?
I hope so. I hope that's why I'm with them, because they believe in me and in my talent. You're right. We are on strike right now, but hopefully,
because that feels like a good new chapter. It feels like at least you're not going back to reality. It's something new. Yeah. So you got, you feel beaten down. You seem vulnerable, and you seem different to me. You just, you were biting your nails off this week. You weren't sleeping.
I don't sleep a lot.
But what were you so scared of? And I feel like you weren't. Did you think I was going to gotcha you or like?
No. That's not it. That wasn't ever my fear. My thing is just us sitting here talking about all of this stuff. What other door is going to close now? Because for me, as I said, doors have closed for me at times. Now I want to be clear that this last year or so, there have been opportunities to come to me. But prior to that, doors were closed.
I don't think that doors are going to close after today. I really don't. I think you're being open.
Well, I hope not, because I don't understand why they would. And why am I not able to work? Why?
All you want to do is work.
All I want to do is work. Leave me alone.
So you want to be an actress. What else? Do you want to do a podcast or you don't?
Oh, I love talking. I love to do a podcast. I've always would love to do a talk show, but I was always forbidden from doing a talk show. I could never do a talk show.
Bravo?
Somebody, I don't know. I could never do a talk show.
What does that mean?
It meant that I could never do a talk show.
Someone told you could never do a talk show?
I was never able to do a talk show
or
do a podcast.
Okay.
Whenever I was in talks to do a talk show or a podcast, it would disappear after a while. We could be talking, talks could be going on really good, and then all of a sudden that opportunity would disappear. And that is not by chance.
What mistakes have you made? What have been your biggest mistakes?
Oh, gosh, my biggest mistakes. I have made mistakes as a mother. I think I'm a great mom, but I think I could have been a even better mom. I think I've made some mistakes in that area. If you're talking about on the show,
no, in your in your career,
in my life,
in your career, like what mistake? What in all these years you're going back? What do you regret? What would you do differently?
I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, because for me, anything that I've ever done really wrong, it was always a learning experience for me. So I've never really chopped them up as like losses. It always was like learning things. Oh gosh, if I could, I don't know about my career, but if I could do anything better, I would be a better mom.
Is that because of the stuff going on with your son? Are you blaming yourself?
No, I don't blame myself for it. I worked a lot. And sometimes I think about maybe if I was more, I've always been a worker in some kind of way. And even when my husband was sending me back and forth to Los Angeles to try to become an actor doing pilot season, I was leaving my son with my husband so that I could go and try to open up doors of opportunity. And I just, wish that I was maybe, I didn't work as much, maybe.
Are you connected with your kids now, though? Are you?
Me and my kids have always been connected. Yes,
you have. So I'm saying you still are being a good mother.
Yeah,
now. You're able to do it now.
I didn't have my mom in my life, so I just want to be the best mom, because I know what it is to have a parent, and I didn't have my mom or father, my biological mom and father in my life. I had my aunt and uncle who were like my parents, but I just know what it means.
So you're working on it now, like you're even more cognizant of it.
Yeah, and in my career, I just don't know if there's anything that I feel like I just really made a mistake doing. I just don't.
That's interesting.
Again, the reality thing was something that kind of fell in my lap. It wasn't anything that I was looking for. It fell in my lap, and it was a good thing for me. And it really opened up doors for me.
Do you miss it?
I can't say that. Now, Housewives missed that.
Like the beginning. Did you miss the heyday?
I can't really say I missed
the beginning.
Housewives is stressful.
I know.
I mean, it's a lot, honestly.
I
mean,
know.
people don't know. Like, people see me all the time and say, "Oh my gosh, will you ever go back on that show? We would really love to see you on there." It's stressful, honestly. And people look at you like, "Are you serious?" Like, it's really a lot. I felt like on the being off the show, I feel like I'm a totally different person now off the show. I feel like I'm more like at ease and more relaxed. I feel like when I was on the show, people would say, you know, shit, my husband could say, "We're out of ketchup." And you're like, "Ketchup!" I mean, you're like just screaming about any and everything.
You're stressed out.
Yeah, because it's so stressful. And I miss the trips. I mean, you know.
Well, it's funny because my entire staff, everybody didn't see you the way that I've seen you after talking to you this week, seeming vulnerable, more human. Like, you're larger than life and you're this character that's like a tough bitch. And that's what everybody thought was coming in. You know what I mean? They all thought like, oh, I thought just that everything's good with you too. You know, like, you're just so strong and hard. And I think that show and that medium makes us like that. Like, you got to be. You're
but
just.
I think people who really know me know, like, I'm really like cool. Like, I'm really cool. I'm private. I'm in my own little circle. My circle is small of people. You know, I guess I'm tough when I need to be tough. But even in my relationship, you know, I don't wear the pants. I don't want to wear the pants. You know, I feel like I wear them every day. So, you know, and
You're a girly girl.
I am. I get with my dude and he can handle everything. You know what I mean? Same thing when I was with Greg. You got it. I'm all the way submissive. I don't want to do anything. You can handle everything. And I just think it's just how people see you. And I also think that the show give people an idea, like they think they know you, but they really don't know you.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, they don't know you, you know. I think that I'm really kind of chill, but I feel like if somebody, you know, they want to get it, like, I feel you can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I kind of feel like that. But other than that, I feel like I'm just over here in a shell.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I get it. I think we're misunderstood. I think we're misunderstood.
You are. And
it's been probably 15 years and we're in our 50s now. So
yeah.
What do you think about age and vanity? Do you feel old? Do you're a grandmother 3 times over? Like, do you feel like it all has to have meaning now? What are we doing with our lives? Like, it's different. Health is more important. You've lost someone. Like, what's your relation? You know, we just used to churn and burn and grind, and it's just different now. I
feel like I am at my best.
You do?
Yes. And because I feel like I look my best. I'm at my best. I feel like 50 is the new fucking 35 or something. Really.
So you're happy. This is a turning point.
I think that, you know, this is just, I feel like 50 is good.
I feel like 50 is great and it's confident.
I feel like it's good. And
it's unapologetic.
There's so many people that's 50 that looks 80. And I feel like I can look in the mirror. I still got my same, hello. I mean, good morning. Like, I mean, I feel good about it. You know, I think I'm doing good. And I have my grandbabies. I love them. I love them.
They're so sweet. How
they're
old are they?
Everything. I have an 11, a 10, and an 8.
And they're your life?
Oh my God. And I have one girl. My girl is everything. Because I don't have a girl, I have boys. So I love my babies.
And
I love my babies.
You spoil them?
Of course. They can do anything they want to do.
Do you feel money noise? Do you have financial anxiety because it's been a couple of years without working?
I think it's natural too. Yeah, I think it's natural too. And I think that was done to me to say, you sit over there and you shut your ass up.
And have you been more conservative in spending? Or are you like just more careful?
You know what? I was lucky and I was blessed to have invested in some things that was able to push me through. Had I not made some good investments, I would have been fucked up, honestly.
I'm really sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, finally, your rose and thorn, the rose of your career and the thorn. And you could do your life too, but rose of your career.
No, not my life, girl.
Rose of your career. Rose of your career.
The roses. Honestly, you know, being a housewife was definitely a rose. I don't want to like act as if it was like the worst time of my life. It actually was a great time when it came to me.
Oh, an opportunity.
It was a great opportunity for me. And the platform couldn't be any greater. You know that better than
Yeah, of
anybody.
course.
I mean, it put me into so many homes and so many offices, and it did so many things for me. So for that, there is definitely a rose there. You got to know that. It was a good thing for me.
Right. Two things can be happening at the same time. You could have
Yeah.
had a great experience and you're grateful for the experience, as they
Yeah.
should be grateful to you because you provided for the experience
Yeah.
too. But you can also want something different. And
Yeah.
are you afraid that, do you have this feeling? Because I do. You know, when like a parent may not be the best parent, but then you like want their approval and you feel badly. Like, do you have a little bit of fear about the Andy part of it? Like, I do you like you, not like you bit the hand, like care that he's hates you or that he's mad at you.
I feel
Does that make you feel self-conscious in a way?
no. I actually feel sad for a person that doesn't have a forgiving heart. You know, I can be mad with you, but I'm not going to be forever mad with you. Like, I can't carry that grudge and that hatred in my heart forever.
You don't
like
know
I
that
could,
he's mad at you forever. He would maybe make amends.
I don't know. You're right. I do not know. I feel sad for a person that doesn't have a forgiving heart. I feel sad for a person that simply cannot just, and I don't know that this is him or not, but I'm not worried about him.
Because you feel in your heart that everything you're doing and saying is correct.
Yeah, so I can't take it back. Like, I wish
I
I wish I could say something different. I feel like, I mean, it is what it is. Like this.
I agree.
I mean,
It's not easy to stand up for something. It's
Yeah.
really not. It's really hard. It's not easy to go against the grain. I heard that 3 different women, housewives, were saying, none of this affects me because I'm a strong woman, so I handle myself. And it's because they're paid there, they're working there.
Yeah.
And I kind of get it. But you got to stand together for what's correct, and it's not easy. It's very difficult to stand up for what's right.
yeah, I don't want any beef.
You just want it to be clean.
I just want to be clean. And I've also asked to even, I've tried to find a way for he and I to sit down and talk, but he's never wanted to do that.
So you've called him.
I did call him.
He won't take your phone call.
He has not taken my phone call. And I've also spoken through our reps
And he
to just see, this is just to clear the air, not for anything else, not to be a housewife, not to anything, just to understand him and for him to understand me, pretty much.
Yeah.
And
You don't see that happening.
well, he's never wanted to do that, apparently.
And
it's okay though. I'm not pressuring it or pushing it or anything. I mean, everybody move when they're ready, in their time. You know what I mean? So he's not ready, and that's okay.
I get it. I feel badly about that part of it, not because I don't think everything I've said and done is correct.
Right.
I feel badly because of how I envision his mind is perceiving it. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Like he's perceiving it as that he represents an institution that has given us opportunities that have been amazing for us, and we do not negate that, but we also worked for it. There's been 150 housewives. They all haven't all had the same effect as we have. So we should take some credit on our own. But I feel badly for the way that he must think I have fucked him over when it's not about him. Right. It's not even and I'm not suing anyone. I just said something and a bunch of people reached out and it became a movement of which he is the face of the.
Even if you were suing them, I believe at some point he would sit down with you.
I believe
that
I
they
am
would have
not
called
suing
you.
them, and people think that I am. I am not.
I believe our treatment would be different.
I think the circumstances are different because I wasn't being demoted and I wasn't coming in for a complaint about me.
Right.
Other people, I just said a thing about a reckoning that represented, frankly, the whole industry, not even Bravo and certainly not Andy.
Right.
It's a whole systemic thing. So you were talking about something more specific and micro, and I'm talking about a macro issue. So it's a little different, I think. But I also recognize your struggles as a Black woman. I please believe that I do.
Yeah.
What is your thorn of your career?
Probably my thorn is my family. Listen to me explain it. My family being thrust into this because they never asked to be in the spotlight. So if my children were so young coming into this, and if they made a young mistake like a young person do, the whole world heard about it and knew about it, and they were crucified, not just by their parents, but by the public. So the thorn of it for me is having my family be thrown into something they did not ask to be thrown into. This is what I want to do, not what they wanted to do.
Fascinating. I didn't think I would never have thought you would say that, but that's interesting too, because that's when I say the exploitation without compensation. The children of reality television aren't compensated, even for future, for college fund, etc. So your kids, you don't know. They could be fucked up with it, without it. You can't know. You're not a genie. But at the very least, they're there because you're there, and they should be compensated. Children working who have to have a microphone on them and who have to be in the room at a time to have a conversation with mom about something the producers say they have to have a conversation with mom about. That's working. That's why I tell you, because you said it to me, I am right. I very rarely am not open to interpretation for what I'm saying. I am right. They are wrong. That is a zero-sum game. So I am, for the first time in a really long time, like, I am 100% right. If you don't like it, you think I bit the hand that fed me, I really don't care, because I am right.
It's the truth. It's the truth. You know, I hate when my kids are being, people in the public are talking about them for whatever reason, because they never asked to be in this. Even my husband, when he was alive, if he was anything, they just...
And they won't do it without them. They let you know explicitly they won't do it without them.
No. My husband and kids were very much a part of it.
Interesting.
And we gave our blood, sweat, and tears.
You did.
We really did.
I will go into the grave saying that you are the most iconic housewife of all time. You are the greatest to play the game.
Thank you.
You are the GOAT. You are the Rushmore. Who would your Rushmore be?
Probably you. Who else is it going to be?
You got to have two other people. Me and you. And who else?
I can't think of too many. Maybe Vicky, Teresa.
That's what you kind. Yeah, that's what I said. Because you know what I always say about you? It's the 100. You were never the people that are my goats aren't there just for the hair and the makeup. They may have that, but they don't. They get dirty.
Yes.
The people are willing to be unliked.
Yes.
Are willing to be unpopular.
Yes.
You have been loved, but you have been unpopular,
yes,
polarizing.
Yes.
Teresa has been loved, but she has been hated.
Yes.
Like people, Vicky looked like a lunatic crazy, and maybe I like her, maybe I don't even know. I don't really know her, but I got to give mad respect for someone who's willing to put it all out on the court and be loved and hated. And that's why the goats are the goats, not because they were first, because it's just different. When you watch a show, you watch Beverly Hills, everybody's worried about being perfect, being liked. They'll get dirty enough, but they get right back into the bath. We went to the mats. We were animals. So, we were animals. So, NeNe Leakes.
We probably played the game better than...
What?
We played the game better than anybody.
We played the game better than anybody. Yeah. This is like, Tom Brady and Jordan. By
the way, you guys, Bethany had 10 houses on one property to show it, honey.
Okay? Okay.
10 houses, girl.
Yeah.
And an apple tree.
And we're planting a peach tree. Okay.
Yes.
So, based on what I'm hearing... Because I wasn't there. I wasn't on the show with you. So for me to know if you were treated unfairly, I do think something shifted in if what you were saying was you along the way talked about being discriminated against. You wrote emails, you wrote letters, you made phone calls, and then you filed a complaint after you felt that you were demoted and moved out because you felt that you had been treated unfairly with something that you had built. And the intersection of that and me wanting to do a show with you and calling different people and them saying we couldn't get that done, I didn't understand it, to be honest with you, because neither did Paul. I didn't know that you were quote unquote toxic or kryptonite or whatever. Like, I didn't know that. And when I said to agents and when I said to production companies, I want to do this show, they basically gave me a brick wall and I didn't understand why. So I don't know if it's the press machine, because what we didn't talk about is the Bravo PR machine of that's a big machine that they've been trying to fight against the Reckoning, but the Reckoning is winning. But that PR machine is strong and you can tell which articles are that machine. It's just the machine and the microbloggers and all that, no problem. But I will say that I don't know the universe has treated you unfairly because that's what I bumped up against. I wasn't watching closely enough to know exactly what the reason was. I just knew that NeNe's hysterical. She's talented. We get along. People would die to watch us together. We're hilarious. Put us in an RV anywhere. Put the cameras on right now, and that thing will rate. That's all I knew, and that's why I called you.
Yeah.
And I got a roadblock. So that's all that I do now.
So that is, to even get a roadblock is why.
And it hurts you because you're feeling self-conscious. Like, what the fuck is everyone saying about me?
But why?
Right.
First of all, why? Because, if you check anywhere that I've ever worked, no one would say that other than this group of people.
Right.
So why would that happen?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just thought, I was thinking market. You know me, I'm thinking about marketing and that we'd be entertaining together. And we still would. And who knows, maybe we can. Yeah. The thing about 2023 that you have to understand, we're talking about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's streamers for old people. Yeah. We are, if you're in the future, we're sitting here in my basement making our own goddamn content.
Yes.
We've got our own camera here.
Yeah.
This is our content. We decide where it goes. It's not going to be edited and chopped up to make us look a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm in charge. And I'm thank you for trusting me to come to my house and to sit down and to have a real conversation, because this is our decision. We are no longer controlled by anybody else, and they decide when it goes up and how it goes up and what's said and what we can say and what we can't say and when we can't say, who we can work with, when we get to air it, blah, blah, blah. No.
Yeah.
So shift, because you get to decide. You could put out your own content.
Yeah.
It's you are so entertaining.
Thank you.
And you don't you can be polarizing, you cannot be polarizing. You just put out the honest content and let them decide, but not someone else speaking for you.
Yes.
Not someone else putting what you are out there. So you should just, this is the era of you producing your own content. You don't need anybody else to be in control. Is what I would say. That's what I would say to you.
That's very true.
You'd get in charge of your own words, talent.
That's very
no one's
true.
going to put your talent in a box.
That's very true.
So that's what I think.
That's very true.
How do you think social media has helped or hurt the show? How has social media affected the whole medium?
You mean
Housewives? Yeah.
I think social media helps. I think social media helps everything.
Well,
by the way, I mean, where would we be without social media today? I think it helps. I don't think it hurts. I don't.
You should have a podcast and some version of a show.
I should have a podcast. I should have all the things that you have and anybody else have. But as I said before, I was never able to have a podcast.
Okay. Well, I have a good feeling. I have a feeling that something had to happen for something to happen. I wanted you to talk because you haven't talked, and I feel like you've been you stuck. You're in between, and you got to get out of the riptide. You got to get past the bad set. You got to go back to shore or go out to the big waves, but you cannot sit in the middle.
Yes.
That's what I think. You got to go get the big waves.
I do too, which is why I'm here.
Yeah.
Now, I was beating myself up about coming.
I know. I didn't sleep either because I was worried. I didn't like the way you sounded.
I beat myself up about coming, but I was like, just go. So
and how do you feel now, having done it, having come?
I feel great.
You do?
I feel great. Yeah. No, I don't feel any kind of way. I feel great. Just like you've gotten things that, you can't work with NeNe. I've got text messages. Nobody likes Bethany, don't. So I'm human like you. So I started feeling some kind of way. Like, should I come to her show? Should I not? I mean, what the hell has she done?
Oh, you and your own wanted to come, but then people were getting in your head and saying things, and you were changing your own gut opinion. Yeah. I mean, you told me your spiritual advisor said something to you.
Said to come. And that you and I were going to be very powerful together. And here I am. And we almost dressed as twins.